Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and I am joined, as always, by Matt.
Hey, what's up, people?
And Connor's here too.
You always sound so dejected when you get to that part. Just utterly
You should hear
defeated.
him say when you're not here, like
Is it just
uh,
pure relation?
smile. Yeah,
He gets out like the
great.
party poppers. There's a little celebration.
Yeah, and also your button stays on the entire time, which is a
Uh,
big fun thing for me. This button here, this big thing here that goes in the corner of the
oh,
The
screen.
fact that
no.
I can experience empathy means that I don't like that anymore. Because when you have a button, it's not funny.
Let's do a test.
No,
No, it's still funny. Okay, we talk about DC Comics on this show. Coming up on this week, a week 4, this is. We always talk about weeks 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, and the occasional week 5, basically because obviously comics come out every Wednesday, and we kind of. DC have a very strict schedule where they, the same books typically come out, barring the odd little delay. Come out each, and the sort of the week 1's the same each month, and so on. So this is a week 4, which has become kind of a weird week because a lot of us have dropped different books, and we have a kind of a weirder. I was just sort of noticing it as I was reading through them like this week, is like week 4's kind of changed and become a unique kind of entry in the month. But we have Detective Comics 963, Action Comics 986, The Flash 29, Batgirl number 14, Teen Titans number 11, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 27, the Hellblazer number 13, because Tim Seeley's on that book now, and Connor decided to check that out because he likes Hellblazer and Tim Seeley, which makes a lot of sense. Also, Matt read Batman Beyond 11. I was basically questioning whether or not to drop that last month, and then I went to consider reading it this month and went, I don't really want to. So there you go. So Matt'll talk about it this month. But then we have a new mini to talk about. Issue 1 of Nightwing: The New Order came out. And then we have Batman: The Shadow number 5. Me and Matt have been reading that. So that's, like I say, so we've got a couple of minis that are out of continuity, and then there's like a few books that only 2 or 1 of us have read. It's kind of a weird week in that sense. But so here we are. We do have some news though. We had solicits this week, so we have got a few other things to talk about. But I'll be nice first. Hey, Connor, how was your week?
It was not bad. It's been nice. I've been and had some food, so I'm in a good mood.
Ah, that's nice. Uh, Weather was nicer, but then it started to get warmer again the last couple
Yeah,
of
it got a
days.
bit too warm now, but
Yeah.
but this is it. I usually I do these on an empty stomach, and I'm kind of like waiting to go and get food, but I've just eaten, so I'm good.
Lovely, lovely. Matt, how was your week?
not too bad. My brother's in town, so that's always an experience. We went bowling last night. I'm not
Oh,
good.
not good.
Yeah.
Did you use the bumpers? Did you?
No, no bumpers. I have pride,
Oh,
but
he used the little
still,
ramp.
Use a little ramp.
I didn't say I didn't.
You don't need
Although
bumpers if you got the ramp.
I imagine using the ramp, I would actually do better than having the bumpers, I think, just because physics and whatnot, you know.
I remember when I was a kid
Yeah.
and I used the bumpers. I actually started to use them in my tactics.
To
Like,
bounce
Yeah.
off.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It became more of like a game of air hockey than it did a game of
Mhm.
bowling.
They
Yeah,
have bumper bowling, like where you can do that, you know.
sounds fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
And because the scoring's a little bit different than, because of course it's much easier to knock them all down when you have the
Yeah,
bumpers up.
and you can't really get nothing.
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but anyways, my elbow really hurts. That's been aggravated by weightlifting and throwing a 12-pound ball down an alley all night. Not the best thing for it. So, yeah. But I'm working through to talk about comics. That's the important part.
That is the important part. That is the important part.
You need that shoulder to turn those pages.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In,
exactly.
in terms of either Netflix or Amazon putting out stuff at the weekend to take up all my time, this weekend we have The Tick from Amazon, which I'm enjoying quite a bit. Me and Connor are halfway through reviewing that right now. We finished Defenders earlier in the week. You can go check out those reviews on the YouTube channel. It was okay. It was, had some
Yeah,
fun
I
stuff.
think last week when we did this review, we were pretty positive where we
Yeah,
were at that point in the season.
actually, yeah, I think we were 3 episodes in when we recorded the review. We recorded the
Yeah,
podcast last
three or
week.
four.
Yeah. Whereas now, obviously, we finished it, and it's like, yeah, it's fine. Some missed opportunities though. Didn't quite reach the
It's
heights
like,
that it could have.
I guess if you're watching all the other Netflix shows, you kind of have to watch it because I mean, if you're watching any of the other Netflix shows, you kind of have to watch it.
I'm 5 in, and so far I much enjoy all the characters
Well, no,
outside of Daredevil
I think
more
it's
than on the
really
original
good
shows.
up until like the last episode, and then it kind of
There you go.
you kind of realize things that didn't happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you don't like Daredevil, Matt? Is that what you just said?
No. Like, so Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, all, on their respective shows. Like, I like them, but, well, Iron Fist, let's not do that to him.
Yeah, I know.
No positivity on that one.
No.
But, on the Defenders, all of the characters, I think, are used to their potential. But Daredevil's always up there, because I really enjoy out of all of those.
It is really nice seeing them always tell Danny that he's shit.
Yeah.
That was my favourite running thing throughout the season, is that anytime someone tells Danny he's an idiot or that he's shit Iron Fist.
And
that's how
everyone does it.
When the famous grumpy guy says it too, like, it means that much more. Just because that's his opening salvo.
Yeah. Cool. I guess we'll talk about news things.
Let's do that.
So we had solicits, and of course we knew Doomsday Clock was coming in November, but we now know the date and all the rest of it. So it's coming on November 22nd. The reason why I think that's important is because I just talked about how weird and disjointed a week 4 was. Well, now we're going to have Doomsday Clock on week 4. So
what an amazing way to end most months.
Yeah, that's
Not November, because there's a week 5.
Well, sure.
But most months.
Yeah, for most months, that's actually... Should they stay on schedule and hit week 4 every month, which I'd hope they would. Given the plan of having it last a year, it's 12 issues, of course.
I imagine, he's been drawing it for a while.
I'd hope so. Wouldn't surprise me if he's been doing pages for this ever since the Rebirth one-shot.
I mean, the last thing I've even seen, he stopped doing the variant covers for, was it Action or was it Superman?
Action.
For Action, yeah.
That was
back in April. Yeah.
Right, so if he's been working, I've not seen him do anything since that.
Yeah.
Here's hoping. Keep that schedule.
He's pretty consistent as well. So his other, single issues, there's a delay here and there, but I think he has enough lead time now. Yeah. So I'm very excited.
This is Gary Frank we're talking about, by the way. Yeah. No one actually said his name.
In case people don't know.
Yeah. So he's done the art for Doomsday Clock, which of course, if this is your first episode of this show, Doomsday Clock is the big actual 12-issue event that's going to bring Dr. Manhattan and the Watchmen and Superman clashing together. That's what Rebirth's been building to all this time. That's happening, so it's exciting. It's exciting stuff. It gives us a big main event for the end of each month for a whole year. And who knows what will be beyond that. So, in terms of... I didn't actually do a lot of the part ones. I pulled out one that I thought was a bit more interesting, mainly because it was teased last week in Batwoman, and that's the Detective Comics arc that's going to be starting in November in issue 969, called Follow the Batman. The reason why I thought this was interesting was because obviously we've seen, that issue of Batwoman was set in this weird future where all these things had changed, and we talked about how maybe this is going to be like a Days of Future Past type story for Batman in Gotham City. And I think it's interesting that this description doesn't actually sound anything like that. Or anything even like that was in that Batwoman issue. So obviously it's going to develop into something like that, but it starts off differently. So, Follow the Batman Part 1, everyone in Batman's orbit is broken somehow, some more than others. For Clayface, keeping the pieces of his psyche together has been a years-long struggle, and it's a war we may be about to lose. What?
I was going, oh no.
Oh.
That's the worst-case scenario. Basil.
So some Clayface focus, which is cool. He's kind of due some focus, since we've had focus for most other members by this point. And as the team tries to pull itself back together, their enemies have learned something from Batman's newfound spirit of cooperation, and they have formed a cabal of their own. So as soon as we're getting a team of villains to take on the Bat family.
Yeah. Sounds interesting. Like you said, it doesn't sound like quite what was teased. But...
No, which makes me wonder if the villains end up doing something that sends someone to the future. I don't know who the villains are. They're not said, but
Go ahead, Connor.
I was just going to say I think it was really interesting that we had that issue of Batwoman last week because obviously that was before these solicits, so we knew what to expect, and it also changed my perspective while reading this week's issue of Detective Comics as well.
Yep.
Like, I think it was a really smart placement for when that issue came out.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think, yeah, because this solicit's actually a lot more. I mean, it sounds fine. Like, it sounds like a fun,
But I'm looking at it going, so how do we get to that?
Yeah, so curious.
All I know is that Detective Comics are some of the best action comics. Big swinging best X-Men comics going right now, because a cabal of Bat villains coming together to take on the Bat family. Boy, it sounds like a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm almost half surprised they didn't call it the Brotherhood of Evil Batmen or something like that.
right. It just
Wouldn't shock me. Or maybe Evil Vigilantes. Maybe Batman's too on the nose.
yeah.
Oh dear. I like how the internet's rebelling against Matt because he's saying the wrong things. So it's starting to break up mid-sentence. And then last thing from the regular parts of the solicits. Again, not a whole lot because obviously we had announcements before of the main new things that were coming. But Green Arrow is seems to be going once a month starting in November. So
Oh man.
that's a bit of a shame because we've been enjoying the pacing on it. But
Who do you know who's on that issue?
I don't have the actual solicits in front of me. I just have the notes.
Part of me is hoping that it means we can have Freya full time.
Nope. It looks like it's Jamal. Nope. Eleanor. No, that was the. My computer is rebelling against me right now.
Don't agitate it, Matt. Don't agitate it.
I'm not. So Green Arrow 34. It's Jamal Campbell.
Jamal Campbell. Interesting.
Okay.
Makes me wonder if the other artists are going elsewhere for other books.
As long as Freya's
On something.
somewhere,
Yeah.
I need to have that consistently.
What if he's on Red Hood?
Don't do that.
You'd read it for that, though, wouldn't you?
No.
You'd consider it.
No.
That would. You can see it on Matt's face. He'd consider it.
Lobdell is like he's such a negative. He cancels out just about any positive in the art side.
That's fair. Because even now, the art in that book, or up to where I am, is pretty solid. Because he gets good artists. It's still
Art alone won't make me check out a book.
very rarely for me. There's like one or two artists where it's like, yeah, I'll do it.
So the other big thing, of course, that they hadn't announced in advance was the annuals that we're going to be getting. Because obviously November's a week fiver. So we have a bunch of annuals coming out on the 5th week. And it's actually quite a busy week. Like, week 5, like next week is a week 5, and we are going to have very little to talk about outside of our trade paperback, which is Green Arrow Year 1, if you've forgotten. And obviously, if you want to read that, and so you can join in the conversation, you can do. So I'll say this right now: the vote that we have for the patrons to pick the week 5 book that we're trade or graphic novel that we do, those will intentionally all be in the shorter side because this is actually a very busy week 5. We have 4 annuals, 2 prestige books that are issue 1s. There's actually 5 annuals, but none of us read JLA, so at least we get to
Small mercies, eh?
ignore that one.
Made that mistake.
Yeah, so that's the thing. And actually, I mean, last year we did it. I think this year we might not because it's such a busy week 5. Like, under any other month, I'd have said, yeah, we'll do the new talent showcase issue 2. Why not? Because it's on a week 5.
The problem is, there's stories in it I really want to check out.
Oh, so some of us might read it.
I think I'll be reading it. They put out the cover, and they said like there's a Dr. Fate.
Oh, don't worry,
story
Connor.
in there.
I've got the solicits here. I've got all these ready to go. So first up, we have Aquaman Annual number 1. So Matt gets to skip out on that one because he's not been reading Aquaman, but me and Connor should be checking that out. It's got a different writer though. It's Philip Kennedy Johnson who's written it. So I mean, it sounds like it could theoretically be skippable, even if you are reading it.
I do often skip annuals that are by different writers. I have to be honest.
However, this is kind of interesting kind of plot. It kind of sounds like an Aquaman Black Mercy. I don't think Black Mercy is actually what's in it, but it kind of sounds like that kind of story for Aquaman. Aquaman's dream of unity between the surface and the sea has come true. A utopia of human and Atlantean ingenuity. Ingenuity?
Ingenuity.
There you go.
Ingenuity, yes, ingenuity. And a symbol of harmony between the two cultures, the city of Crownspire is Arthur Curry's greatest achievement. There, Aquaman, Mera, and Tom Curry live in content. But who built Crownspire? Where is Mark? And what exactly is Tom Curry? Not who is Tom Curry, what is Tom Curry?
Okay.
So, sounds interesting.
Sounds like a weird dish that I probably wouldn't eat. Tom Curry.
No, it sounds like the doppelganger of Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Darkest Timeline Tim Curry, that's what that is.
So, which means he always plays a good guy.
Yeah, that's what that means. We also have Batman Annual number 2. In fact, this is notable. This is the first annual number 2 from Rebirth. Mm-hmm. So we're getting Batman Annual number 2. Tom King is writing it. The art is by Lee Weeks. Travel back in time and see the early days of the Bat and the Cat. What was Bruce and Selina's first date? How did this rivalry blossom into romance? And then go right back to being a rivalry again. Tom King reteams with his Batman Elmer Fudd collaborator, Lee Weeks, to show us a young love with capes and kills. And a little crime fighting too.
I really like Lee Weeks. So that I was already kind of on. But between the two of them, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be checking this out. But I'm really into the sound of that.
Yeah, I've liked Tom King's like Batman and Catwoman like sort of stories like this in the main series, so yeah, I am more than happy for this one. Then we have the Green Arrow Annual number 1, which was supposed to be next week but got delayed because it's Christmassy and they thought they'd put it closer to Christmas. So Christmas time is time for reflection, relatives and revenge. So says Count Vertigo, who returns to Seattle to send Oliver Queen on a violent, mind-bending journey into his own past and future. The hidden secrets of Green Arrow are laid bare in this oversized special that tests the already tenuous bonds between Team Arrow, featuring the long-awaited returns of Shadow, Diggle, and the Dark Archer Merlin. God damn it. Anyway.
He was Ra's al Ghul, you know.
I do think it's interesting that this is delayed, given that it says the return of these characters.
Yeah, it sounds like, and it's Benjamin Percy that's written it, so it's definitely relative to the overall ongoing story.
Which feels like, is this next arc going to feel strange? Because Diggle was one of them, right? And obviously, because we know Diggle at the minute is off with Merlin.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So was he supposed to be in the next arc of the book, and it's had to be changed because of this?
Well, it depends how this ends. I mean, we have no idea if...
Well, that's true.
Sounds like a standalone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
it could be like, it's relevant to the overall thing that's going on, but it's relatively standalone enough that they could just push it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't think they would have pushed it if it was, because it was supposed to come out next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think they would have released a Christmas themed in the summer.
I think what's funny to me is that Green Arrow's going once a month, but the first month that it's just once. There's an annual, so we don't even feel the effect of it.
It kind of makes up for it a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I actually think the annuals for the single shippers feel more special because we get to have like that as double shipping for 1 month, and it's like, we get an extra one of whatever it is. Speaking of, the next annual is Super Sons Annual number 1, which is written by Tomasi, art by Paul Pelletier. I can speak today. Super Pets Unleashed, the world's furriest team of Crypto and Titus, together at last. Tired of the boys stealing the spotlight, the doggy duo lead the Super Sons on a canine-powered epic. And I know Matt is just like foaming at the mouth over there.
Incredible.
Yep.
It sounds good.
I'm so ready for this.
Yeah, I'm into it.
That's the one I'm looking forward to most.
I agree.
Forget the Batman one. This is something special.
I think Super Sons is at the top of that list. But no, so you go. And then there's also Justice League of America Annual number 1. I've got the description, but none of us read it, so I don't know if it's even worth mentioning.
I'm willing to say no.
Not unless you think it sounds particularly interesting.
Slobo focused?
Nope. Pass.
Okay. Also, additionally, obviously it's not outside of Rebirth and all the rest of the main books, but there's an Injustice 2 annual as well, if you're into that series, on November as well. So, a lot of annuals. And then, as mentioned before, we have the New Talent Showcase 2017 number 1. I think I called it number 2 earlier, but same difference. So this has got a bunch of different stories in it. The latest graduates from the DC Talent Development Workshops show off their skills in stories starring some of DC's greatest architects, greatest characters. I really can't read today. What is going on?
How the hell did you get to
That's a
architects?
completely different word. Like, it's not even close.
Like, some of the other ones you've messed up. It's like, oh, at least you've been trying.
I think I'm trying. I'm just like, I think there's an alternate reality bleeding through on my computer, and I'm seeing like a different version of the article. That's all.
It's
It is.
like the Bernstein Bears thing.
There you go. The Mandela effect. That's what it is.
Yeah.
In these tales, Poivin.
All right, I'll just read this. In these tales, Poison Ivy fights an ancient demon. Dr. Fate is confronted by the cost of magic. Red Hood and Duke Thomas, oh god, face off in a training day simulation and so much more. They had me until you add Duke and Red Hood together in a story.
Yeah, that one I can skip, but the
How-
others, I'm down.
How
for
can I
this.
care less? Ugh.
Oh
But it's
god.
got Poison Ivy.
So Matt's in.
Don't you mean Poivin
Yeah.
Ivy? Just for the
No,
record.
Poison Ivy. I don't know who Poison Ivy is.
It's
like a weird cousin.
Long.
Oh dear. On the upside, though, that's the end of the comic book news. However, before we get to the books, we do have a couple of movie things that I want to bring up. Now, obviously, if you don't care about the movies, you can skip to go look at the timestamps, get to the first book. Like you got the option, because I know
I'll be
some
back.
I know some folk. No, not you, Matt. You need to stay here for this.
Shoot.
But because I know some people don't care about the movie stuff and they just want to like go to the comics, and that's fair. I mean, we don't always have stuff to talk about from the movies, but sometimes something will happen that's worth bringing up.
Something just stupid enough that we have to mention it.
Yes, because I don't think I don't think coming into any week I come in thinking that we're going to be talking about two versions of the same thing in development. This week, not one, but two Joker films were announced / leaked as in development.
Ugh.
We have one that is a Joker Harley movie, which I'm guessing is set before Suicide Squad. And then the other one is an out of continuity, so we're doing an Elseworld of the Joker, which is a Joker origin story that wouldn't star Jared Leto. First things first.
That one's got Scorsese attached to it, so everyone's going,
Maybe.
oh,
Yeah,
he
producing.
gets to-
Yeah.
No, he's producing.
Yeah.
But
Right.
everyone's going, oh, that means DiCaprio is the Joker. I'm like,
No, it doesn't.
does it really?
I've not even seen that, so yeah,
Oh,
that's stupid.
it's all I'm seeing in reference to that. It's like, just because Scorsese's name's attached, but like I say it's producer.
Isn't it the director
There's nothing
of...
I would want less than Leo DiCaprio as the Joker. All
Hold on,
right.
isn't the
I don't know,
director...
Jared Leto as the Joker.
Well,
Hold on
No,
a second, hold on a
'cause-
second. Isn't the director of this Joker origin movie that's in development, isn't it like the guy from The Hangover or something like that?
Todd Phillips. But so he has some edge coming from his film school work. He did a documentary about Gigi Allen, who is this super punk rock, like underground artist that's very Joker-esque because he was all about chaos and anarchy and whatnot. So I could almost get that, but I don't want a Joker movie. I just don't.
Well, here's my sort of main point on this, right? I don't really want a Joker standalone movie. However, I have seen how it could be done well, and that's where you still treat him as the villain, but there's no Batman to save them, so it's more like a horror movie, right? I can see how you would do it, and it could be interesting. But here's what I'd never want under any circumstance. Under any possible circumstance you could possibly think of, do I ever want the origin of the Joker?
Yeah.
It's like
unless
the
you do
one
it
thing
anthology
don't do.
style. You know,
Oh,
like
that could work. Anthology. Do you know, I could see, like, you have a bunch of people telling this, like, I think we had it on one of the recent Batman annuals in the New 52, where they all tell their version of the origin of the Joker, and it's like,
yeah.
you get like 5 different potential origins, and all of them could be bullshit, but you can kind of pick the one you like.
Yeah.
Mm.
That
But
could
I
work.
don't give them that much credit because that's such a risk for a modern audience, like
Yeah.
I could see us enjoying that, like going, yeah, see, this is why it works because we don't want the Joker's origin. We like that it's murky and it can be anything and could be a dude that just snapped or this is all just a big, character this guy's playing. But to the average person that goes to watch that, they're like, oh no, this is the Joker and why am I getting 5 stories about him?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a good chance that neither of these films will ever actually go into production, right? It's very key that they're only in development. And the funny thing is that as much as it's easy to overreact and say, oh, they've got 2 Joker movies in development, the thing is though, is they probably have tons of things in development that we never even hear about. Like they'll have like so many things that are at this stage where it's just there's some people who are attached and are kind of like working a story together to maybe pitch to Warner Brothers and kind of thing. So I don't actually think it's actually that big a deal. That said, there is something really sort of eye-rolling, inducing of just like hearing about 2 Joker movies like within like 2 days of each other. Like it was actually when the second one popped up, I was like, "What, another one? What?"
Peter, imagine being me and reading that news. All right.
I think they say, oh, they probably have a lot of things in development. I'm sure they do. But if we're only hearing about a percentage of them, and we're hearing about 2 Joker movies, how many other Joker movies have they got at the same stage?
I would hope those other characters maybe getting a bit of the.
I mean, I'd hope so, but
the development
do you really
cycle.
trust Warner Bros?
I don't trust Warner Brothers at this point. No, they have not shown anything to convey that they are trustworthy as of yet.
Right. Well, Wonder Woman was a good first step, but that's all it was.
And
the first step.
Matt Reeves' Batman is seeming to come together as a nice step.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Yeah, there was controversy this week with that as well because someone took a comment he made in an interview out of context. It made it sound like, oh, the Batman's not going to be in the movie universe, it'll be separate, but it'll still star Ben Affleck. And then, of course, a couple of days later, he went, no, that's not what I meant. I just meant it would be standalone and not have tons of plot.
This was only murkied because we had an Elseworlds one leak in that same week.
Yep.
If we hadn't had that Joker film news, then no one would have even
probably
taken that at a second glance.
It's worth mentioning, though, that after that first article with the interview, which even that article itself, I don't think was actually trying to like hype that point up too much, but then every other news site on the internet took it and made their headline, Batman movie from director's mouth is not in the DCEU. And then it became this big thing that everyone was talking about on Twitter and everything else. And dear. But then a couple of days later, he went on Twitter and said, "No, it's going to be in the universe. It's just going to be." And because I even said that when it first popped up, that it probably just means it'll be like,
so much credit. It was the article you linked to had this in it.
I never read the article.
Well, maybe you should read articles before sharing them. This is the problem with society today. People sharing headlines.
I'm with Connor on that one. Anytime I share something, there's only been a couple times where I'll share a trailer that I didn't have time to watch. I wanted to get in
This
there.
does not make me any less right.
But it makes you a bad person for sharing things you've not read. You are part of the problem.
I'm just saying, it just gels. Like, I read that headline and I was like, well, no. But I've gone the extra, I've taken extra steps to listen to Matt Reeves talk about his Batman movie that he wanted to do. Like when he was doing Apes press and whatnot. So, I automatically assumed this is what he meant because he doesn't want to have to tie in Kryptonians and the Amazons into a Gotham movie that's more noir than anything. Yeah. So
if Warner Bros. Actually let him do this, I mean, he says, Warner Bros. Have said that to him that they want it to be standalone. Maybe they're learning.
Right. This is where I wanted Batman to go right after Nolan, is just to serialized one-off movies that that are just stories.
They can be part of the bigger world without having to see it all at once in every movie. I mean, Wonder Woman got away with it because it was mostly set in the past, so it didn't have to reference anything really.
Yep.
Still managed it, but
we still started the movie with emails. Come on.
Okay, well, first book this week is Detective Comics 963, James Tynion IV and Christopher Sebela writing. Tynion plotted, but Sebela actually did the script, and Carmen Nunez, Carnero on art. The last name there was on a new line. I read 2 and I was like, nah, I'm quite satisfied. 2 names is pretty normal, but those are all them. So yeah, this was what I would assume is a 2-part little story, because obviously we have the In the Lonely Place of Living beginning next month. So this is we go back to Stephanie, who met Anarchy in her last little sort of one-er that we did before the last arc. We catch back up with that stuff. There's a little bit of other stuff as well, some Clayface stuff, and Batman kind of like stalking, or well, maybe stalking's a bit harsh, but
keeping an eye on her.
keeping an eye on
some
Stephanie from
tabs.
afar.
Tracking.
Yeah. And I feel like I can sort of tell what the emotional beat's going to be at the end of the next issue. You know, presumably Batman is going to tell Stephanie that Tim's still alive. And that's going to probably be quite emotional, because I think one of the most touching moments of this series so far was after Tim, quote unquote, died, was their hug after it. So how she'll take that information, especially when he's likely going to bust in and stop whatever Anarchy's doing to some degree. Like how she'll take that and how that'll affect how she's processing things. But yeah, so Anarchy, they're basically stopping causing some chaos in the Monster Town, which is the sort of where the remains of the Monster Men.
I like that we have a new area of Gotham now.
That's pretty cool.
Me too.
I like it. In fact, that's what Clayface is up to. He's in the sewers, like collecting some mutant monsters who have developed because of some of the remains that have been kicking around. And he basically captures them by like Clayfacing around them, and then just sort of brings them in his body.
That's stuck inside him. Yeah.
Well, we saw that in War of Jokes and Riddles when he brought in, who is it, Kite Man?
Oh, true.
Yeah.
It's weirder though when it's like tentacles and shit that are like.
That's it. Kite Man was more like fully enveloped around, whereas this is just they're just they'll just stick in there.
The Kite Man one was a lot more like when Batman used them as a mech suit.
Yeah.
See, with that one, it was more like he was taking a cape and wrapping it around, whereas here it's just kind of sticking them into a pile of glue and just pulling them out.
Pulling them up, yeah. But I liked some of like his remorse, because he's like, you guys didn't have any choice in this. Kind of like he's connecting with them. And then that tapeworm creature comes at him. That was pretty creepy. Yeah. And he takes his frustrations out on that one a little bit more.
Yeah.
Again, we talked about this in the solicits. Like, he's been such a great character, Clayface, in this. And I just, if he has a break, it's gonna hurt me.
You mentioned creepy. There's a really creepy moment when he's talking to Victoria, her name is, I think, the scientist, where she says you have to face things, and he like turns his head round, Exorcist style, to talk to her.
Yeah. Well, see, I like to think he just morphed it through the back.
Oh, to be fair, that's probably what he did. But it's just in my it's a panel and we don't see the motion. It just looked very Exorcistic to me. I could just see Linda Blair's head turned round. But it was a nice touch. So that was that, and so Anarchy basically takes Steph. He's like, okay, you're ready to see what I've been working on, and he eventually takes off his mask as well, because she's sort of like giving him shit for like not showing who he is, because she's kind of trusted him, so he has to return the favour. And there's some nice beats here, because he's taking her into the subway tunnels that were abandoned, and he's explaining that, oh yeah, these are all abandoned, and I bet you'll never guess why. And then she tells him exactly why, because we had Tim have this exact conversation with her in the first arc, which, to their credit, I remember. So they planted that well enough that, because this could have very easily been something that we'd forgotten, but they made it very distinct when they told us it the first time that it was completely memorable.
It's also to do with, it was part of the forming of their base, that story of when, when we got about all the Belfry and stuff. So it was like, it feels like it's an integral part of their home, like their story. So it's more memorable because of that.
Yeah. So he basically takes, he's got like an underground kind of, sort of like farm / like
refugee camp.
Like a commune kind of deal.
Yeah.
Because it looks like they're growing stuff too, and
it's basically just a little society that he's developing for the disenfranchised, I suppose. And I'll admit, I did have a kind of harsh reaction to that last page at first, because it was giving me some flashbacks of Arrow from.
See, I thought the same, but I was like, I had a bit of a quick scan of the page. I was like, it's all right. There's no corn.
There's no. There's no corn.
You know how to fix that? You don't watch Arrow like me, because I had none of that.
Listen to the snark. Listen to the snark coming off of him.
I'm just saying. But I liked Anarchy here.
He had the audacity. When we talked about the Green Arrow annual earlier on, to use that I used to be Ra's al Ghul line. He only knows that because we brought that to the table from Arrow.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Having his cake and eating it too.
No, that's called yes anding, Pete. But with Anarchy here, he feels like such a generic, like, he's not exactly a villain. He's He's kind of an anti-hero, but I wasn't connecting with him until he got to his whole anarchy is not like breaking down things. It's taking the power and giving it to the people and taking out the system, which is the complete opposite of what kind of Tim and Stephanie were talking about in the beginning. Where Tim's like, oh no, I'm gonna help make this better. Work in the system. He's an engineer that way.
We start with
where he's gonna tinker with it, and Anarchy's just like, well, no, I'm just gonna do it my way.
Yeah, obviously we didn't talk about the flashback. We start the issue with a flashback to presumably just not long before Tim, again, quote unquote, died, because she's talking to him about, oh, you're working up the courage to tell Batman that you're maybe going off to school and that kind of thing. So it's a sweet enough scene, and it's sort of like him saying, "Oh no, we're in this together. This isn't a one-man mission. Like, your place is right by my side," kind of thing.
This is the scene I really enjoyed after reading Batwoman, because I was reading it. Like when he's talking about, it's like, oh, we should be doing more.
He's talking about.
I feel a little nervous
because he says
uneasy.
What's the line? He says something about building a utopia, and it's like, that seems like it's going to go badly.
That was it,
yeah. So
all that stuff is always. When any like dystopian future in like good sci-fi movies, it always starts with good intentions. Yeah. Like it's never people are just like, oh, I'm gonna take over because I can do it better. It's like, well, this is better for everybody, and I kind of feel it's anarchy as well. Here, the character, not the system or the political philosophy.
I feel like the darker side to like whatever anarchy's doing is going to be revealed next issue though. Like there'll be something about it that makes it bad, that makes it okay. As good as your intentions might be, you're like potentially killing people as a result in some other way, kind of thing. Like I can see that
because he's very much an end justify the means. Like if you have to take out buildings, because that's what we see him do here. Like. As he's what are they? Are they GCPD or no? They're Argus agents, right?
Yeah. Because I think he's holding back because he's in front of Steph, so he's not being lethal in front of her. I think he's holding back.
No, but I don't know. You set like mines in abandoned buildings, you got lethal intentions. Like.
Yeah. But I get the impression that he knows that Steph wouldn't approve if he actually went lethal in front of her. So I think he's holding back to again kind of indoctrinate her to his. I've not seen cult-like evidence yet, but I'm getting cult feelings from the way he's sort of bringing her into the fold.
Oh, I definitely feel.
And we all know that I love cult leader villains. Like it's such a good trope, at least for me. So if that's what he's doing, and to put Stephanie against that, who wants to do things her own way. That's her whole arc right now. Yeah, I mean... Yeah.
My one problem is I don't know if Anarchy is compelling enough to be a cult leader villain that I care about.
Yeah, he's got a commune of people living in the subway tunnels.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like... That's the thing, I'm like, how does this guy do all this? I don't know if I buy it.
That's where the dark side comes in.
Yeah, he's taking some shortcuts.
Yeah. Oh, sure, but I mean... I just don't. I don't buy that he's managed to convince all these people and Steph so easily. It's trying to present him as this real smooth talker. I don't quite buy it.
Oh no, and I feel like we're supposed to not buy it either. Like there's a sheen over there that's not natural.
Yeah,
like he was saying.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed it. That flashback in particular, like the art, because the expressions on their faces, and just like the way that she's filming them. And he gets all worried about it.
Okay. The art didn't wow me in this. This wasn't one of the regular artists in the book. It was. No. I mean, it's fine. Like it didn't bother me, but it wasn't.
I did enjoy it in the flashback, especially with the colours. There was one problem I had where there was a point where I had to do a double take. It was when they're in the subway tunnels, and Steph's got the flashlight, but the way it was positioned, I couldn't see it, and it just looked like there was a train car coming towards them.
But I thought so too.
And I had to really look at it to realize.
I was like, well, they just said there's no trains there. Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, when I say it's fine. Like, there's nothing about it that felt like it was. There was very few moments where I was looking at it going, oh, that's a really nice image, or that's a really like. But it wasn't bothering me at the same time. It was just kind of standard, I guess, is where I'm coming from.
I liked the flashback stuff more.
Yeah, all the orange clothes worked really nicely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it sticks out because obviously there's like 2 or 3 regular artists for the book, and I'm kind of used to what their stuff looks like, and it kind of stuck out as just being a little bit bland compared to the style that's usually there. But
See, this is, I think, how me and Matt felt. You know, when we changed artist in the middle of that, the arc with Cassandra.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we were like, it's fine, but it's just so it's different. It's not one of the regular ones, and it's like that kind of. That's kind of how I feel here. It's like it's fine, but it's not what I expect from the book.
But otherwise, I think the issue was decent. I think I preferred the last Stephanie Brown one more than this one. I think that one had a more sort of defined plot with her, like, you know, going through the news station and like she had people to save, and there was more of a sort of like. Whereas this was more about setting things up. My favourite moment of this show, though, was definitely the panel of like Batman watching from the distance as they're going in the tunnels. It's like you can just feel that he's nervous to actually tell her, and you don't usually get the feeling that Batman's nervous, but I felt he was nervous in that panel.
Right.
So, so that's pretty good. I need to move this cat. He's getting in the way. So that's Detective. We'll obviously pick up on those threads come next issue in a few weeks' time. So that'll take us on to Action Comics 986. Rob Williams wrote this, and Guillem March is on art. So this is the second part of this two-parter. Again, little two-parter with a different team for the most part before we get to the big arc next month of the Oz Effect. Just kind of like Detective. It's very similar between the two books and how they've set this up.
This issue reminded me of the New 52 was a thing. Like, big time. That's not good nor bad, but I'm just saying, from where we've been with Superman and Rebirth, it might be a weird move to be like, hey, you guys remember this thing?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That said, there was a couple of moments in this that I quite liked. And I'm not just talking about the ending. Obviously, the ending does some teasing for Oz Effect, but there's actually a couple of good Clark Lex moments throughout this issue.
We should ask Connor what he thought.
As I kind of alluded to last issue, I decided not to read this because last issue I read it and the art literally made me angry. So I decided I didn't want to be angry, and especially when I was told, "Oh, there's interesting stuff at the end," I was like, "Okay, but I don't want that filtered by anger and rage. I want to be able to, think about it. Neutrally."
I want to pause the show for a second. I want to send a personal message to David, who pays the $30 tier on the Patreon to make Connor read things. Now, it's normally Red Hood. I just want to make a suggestion that maybe next month,
March,
instead of Red Hood, maybe Connor has to read this issue of Action Comics. Just a thought. I'm just throwing that thought out there. Just a thought.
Also, if you're tired of Red Hood and Action Comics, anything by Guillem March now, I know we can use as a weapon because I know it angers him. So,
yeah, I think the lesson here is know your ammunition. Know what your ammunition is. Know how to load it and know how to fire it, Connor. That's the important thing.
So we were talking earlier about how as readers will fall for certain things and get involved. Like, this is how I know I'm a continuity wonk, because I'll forgive like art that I'm not enjoying if something huge happens.
See, I'd rather just, when it's like this, when I know I'm going to be angry, I'm like, I'll read about the news, I'll hear about it. I didn't actually go looking for it, because like, I'll hear about it from you two, and then I'll get what it is, and then go from there. Whereas if I look at it and read it and try and decipher it myself, I'll just get angry at the art and I won't think about it properly.
I almost want to book Connor from the call while we talk about this and then invite him back in for the next book, just to mess with his plan. His well-organised plan. Anyway, so we're talking about Action Comics.
Just make stuff up.
Oh, absolutely. When Stargirl showed up and saved the day, that was impressive.
Usually on a cover,
it's not enough.
So you'll see on the cover stuff that doesn't happen. This one, Titano shows up just out of nowhere. Weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Why is he on the cover? I don't get it.
But anyways, Action. So despite the art, like Pete was saying, there's some good Lex and Clark moments, especially because what were they? The mind ticks.
Yeah, so the last issue ended with Lex, like one of them got onto Lex, so now Lex is kind of like, not mind controlled, but kind of red kryptonite-esque kind of version of himself fighting.
Yeah,
Superman.
because what is the Machinist? That's that dude's name. He's like, here's the thing about the mind ticks: they don't make you do anything you normally wouldn't do. It just lowers those stops that would make you stop doing it.
Yeah, so it is like
this
red
is all
kryptonite.
stuff.
Yeah, it's like red kryptonite because
Yeah,
it lowers your inhibitions. So you like anything you
yeah,
kind of have the urge to do, you'll just do it without thinking about it.
right.
So he ends up fighting
It's
Superman.
like, mhm.
Yeah, what was it, Matt? You had a
I
really
was
good
like,
point there you wanted to make.
that was a good point. It's like it's sometimes how I react on the show to Pete. I know he doesn't want me to do something, but I do it anyways.
I wonder, can I just do this on my own? Like, can I do like a one man show?
You could, but it wouldn't be worth it.
Oh dear. No, then I'd have to read Red Hood for that tier. No, I can't do that. Nah, Connor's got worth. Connor's got value. Not much,
There you go.
but there's something tangible, some thread to hang on to. But yeah, so Superman and Lex are fighting. Lex is fighting him, and Superman flies him into space, and then Lex's suit has like a sort of like automatic kind of like space helmet thing that pops out. Which, by the way, was it just me, or was the art very intentionally making him look like Darkseid as much as humanly
Yeah,
possible?
that upset me big time because that's what reminded me of New 52 and parts of the Dark Side where I
Okay,
didn't
yeah.
like is where on New Apocalypse, it was New Apocalypse, this whole cult to Lex that had popped up and basically saying that he was the new Dark Side, like he was meant to, conquer and be the leader of New Apocalypse. And
You could argue though that it's more of a reference to that arc we already had in action a little bit ago, where the bounty hunter wanted to like kill Lex because he one day would become like the new Darkseid.
yeah, but not like this. This was taking directly from some of that art that was in Dark Side War.
Oh sure,
From the
sure, I get
prophecy
you.
and stuff, and that plot of Dark Side War I found super weak because it never really got fleshed out as much as I would have wanted it to. Like it's interesting, but yeah. So when the apocalypse, because it's still an apocalypse, battle suit, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
I don't know if the
it's
whole
not
I don't think the whole
green and purple
suit's yeah I don't think the whole suit's apocalypse tech,
Right.
but the like what's powering it, the mother box is actually
Integrated.
yeah. It's got,
Yeah.
I think of it basically like the Iron Man suit, where the mother box is like the arc reactor kind of idea.
Right. So yeah, so it goes into like self-preservation mode to save Lex from space, and yeah, he looks a lot like Darkseid.
Yeah, it was
And
kind
I was
of
worried that the Omega beams were coming out.
Kinda
I was
weird.
like, no.
well.
Thankfully, they don't.
So Superman throughout this is like talking to him. He's like, "Look, you actually proved that you could be better. Like, you actually gave me hope that even the worst of humanity, the scum of the earth, like you, could somehow be better." I didn't say that exact line, but that was kind of the gist
No.
of it. And so basically, he says, "Oh, you're the smartest men on earth. You can figure this out. You can fight this." And Lex goes on this whole monologue about how, "Oh, you're not human. You can never be human. We're better than this. Like no one like you could like be the Superman. I'm the Superman because I'm a human being." And then he sort of has this moment where he realizes, wait, this isn't very human-like. This isn't what I want to be. So then Lex does something really smart. He basically tells his suit to fire everything he's got at Superman on the way down into Earth.
Yep.
Like, they're burning through the atmosphere. He's got a hold of Superman. And he does this because his theory, which turns out to be correct, is that if the suit's like firing everything at once, it'll like short circuit the overload the chip.
The mind tick.
Yeah. So basically, like they're halfway down, and then like as they're falling, they're free falling, and Superman's kind of half out of it because he's just been hit with all this shit. Like Lex was kind
Yeah.
of banking that he could take the hit, and halfway down, he's just like, and it's like one word per panel as they're falling through the sky. He's like, "I'm counting on you." And then you turn the page, and like Superman's like holding Lex up. He's like, it's like you stopped the free fall because now Lex's suit is like dead. Like it can't do anything anymore. So you had to like catch him, otherwise they were. Well, I mean, Superman would probably be fine because he'd just hit the ground and then get up a few minutes later. But
Yeah.
Lex would
But
be
I
dead.
mean, we don't want Lex to end up like Rhodey. You know what I mean? With that horrible splat.
Yeah, he'd be splatting the sidewalk. So
Yeah.
there you go.
And it's great because that last image when you turn the page and it's Superman holding Lex, like with his arm over his shoulder, and Lex is laughing maniacally,
Yeah.
just like you forgot who you were dealing with, and it's these two are rivals.
This is why I didn't want to read this, because I hear that and I go, oh, this sounds pretty cool. I'm just imagining it. But if I had to see that art, I'd be
Actually,
angry.
the art this time wasn't as, I hate to say bad things, it wasn't as bad as last time. It definitely, Superman doesn't look like this big, huge behemoth
Yeah, I
like
think
last time.
there's panels that are fine, and then there's panels where it's a bit over the top, and that's where it kind of falls down. But there's some moments that work okay. Like, this little quiet moment they have, like where Lex is like, "Oh, I love it when and Clark's like asking him, "Oh, are you going to like go and look into like why he took your tech?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to search for whoever sold him this," because obviously there's like this was like a civil war the machinist was interfering with and like giving his tech to these two rivals, and like Lex is going to look into it and find out who gave him the tech and who like sort of put him on this path. And there's a nice little quiet moment at the end where Superman's like sitting there with his like he's like knees up and he's got his like arms over his legs and he's like, you're welcome kind of thing. It's just a little sad moment, and I thought that was pretty decent looking. There was a little bit of emotion in that panel. And that was the main story. But then we have this little epilogue scene where Lex is looking into this tech and like try to trace it back to who stole it and who gave it to the machinist and whatnot. And he's doing a search on one of the logos that's on it, and then that's when Mr. Oz appears suddenly out of a portal, and he's like, delete all traces of that logo all over the internet and all over the world. And he kind of just does it, like something else. Like Lex refuses, but Mr. Oz's tech just goes and does it. And that's when he's. I'm going to open it up actually. I want to get some of my quotes right here because obviously there's some big hints here, I think, as to the identity of Mr. Oz, because basically post this. Basically, Mr. Oz tells Lex that he'll never be a Superman, that he is just a puny human, and that he'll always be a puny human, and that's what makes us all pathetic. And he shoots off the Superman emblem on his chest, and there's that great final sort of page where he's looking at it, and there's just this big like thing, like this big sort of not crack, but like he's basically blasted.
A gash.
Yeah, it's almost like it's been hit with heat vision, like going across the way. And
yeah, but it is heat vision. It's coming straight out of Mr. Oz's eyes.
Oh yeah, no, the
Like,
first panel's when he uses heat vision, but like, so obviously you're thinking, right, Mr. Oz seems like he may be a Kryptonian, right? That seems kind of obvious.
Yeah.
But the way he talks with disdain and he sort of like seems insulted that he's wearing the symbol has me 100% convinced that whoever Mr. Oz is, he is absolutely someone who has worn that symbol. Now, I think the theories that are going around now is that it's a Jor-El of some kind. I think that is definitely possible, given how he reacts here. I do think Superboy Prime is an option.
We keep bringing that name up, and I don't think it's an accident. I don't think that people like me and Pete, who have read all of these major stories, right, and they've involved Prime, he keeps coming up as this.
Because to be fair, I could see him being like, having this attitude where he is like disgusted that Lex would dare wear that symbol.
Exactly, and we know that Prime has had issues with the Luthors. It goes back to Infinite Crisis and Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it's just, he kind of blames Lex for the failure to bring his Earth back. And at that point it was Alexander Luthor Jr., but not, So I almost, Jor-El could be cool, but now you're jumping through a bunch of hoops. But if you want to kind of make it fit with again, I'm a continuity wonk, but if you want to make it fit with the overall narrative that Johns has been telling, then I think Prime, and he's kind of outside because he's from our Earth. He's from the real world.
I think Jor-El can work just as well, because I think the running theory is that it's not just Jor-El, it's not just the Jor-El that this Superman had, it's the Jor-El from like before Crisis. Like, it's like it's a Jor-El from a previous continuity who is like disturbed by everything that's happened. So again, it's someone who's kind of outside of the realm of things, and so. But again, I think the fact though that one of the early covers for Oz Effect seems to be hinting more at Jor-El makes me think that may be a misdirect. And that's like,
I hope so.
Like Jor-El will be part of the story. Like when this is explained, like when it's explained to whoever Mr. Oz is, maybe that'll factor into the plot in some way. But the actual reveal of who it is could be more of a swerve when we actually get to it. That said, I think there's a lot of possibilities, but I feel like after this, I am convinced whoever it is has worn that emblem. They're a House of El in some capacity, or someone who adopted it at the very least. So that's my stance. That's my stance after this issue of action. Alright, well, I guess that'll take us on to The Flash, issue number 29. Joshua Williamson writing and Popman which that name popped up, and I think it was Teen Titans last month, and I remember thinking it was a cool name then, and it's still a cool name now.
Yeah.
But also him and Christian Duce both did the art for this issue of Flash. So that's continued on from where we ended last issue, where he... Oh, forgetting the villain's name again. I keep forgetting this villain.
Shrapnel.
Thank
Shrapnel.
you.
Connor's back.
Oh, yeah, Connor's around again. Look at that. So you read this one, Connor. You actually read a book.
I did.
I just check.
I did. I didn't forget this one like that one time.
Oh, God.
This guy.
So,
Look, so far it's only one book I've not read. Give me peace, damn it.
No.
aye, but more coming up.
You've got things you haven't read that I have.
Yeah, but all the things I didn't read are stuff that I wasn't reading anyway.
So Shrapnel blows up those bikers, and it's bad news for Barry.
Yes. Basically, we start with the aftermath of the fight we don't really get to see, which is these bikers who've been robbing the armored cars get, they're not dead, but they are like gravely injured. They are taken to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
They are, and I like this issue more than the last one because I think the last one, while it had some good stuff in it, it felt like a lot of setup and it didn't feel like a fully fledged issue. This one, I'm really glad slowed down. I really like some of the opening stuff where it's Barry like sort of like stumbling into his apartment and like getting into the bath like with the suit that's all half ripped, and he's like trying.
How does Bruce do it?
Yeah, that was some funny stuff. He's like, how does Bruce? Oh, he's got a butler. Yeah, he's got somebody who takes care of him. I'm just here miserable on my own in pain. Which again is an effect of the negative Flash powers because he's not healing the way he normally does with his Speed Force stuff.
Well, because he doesn't want to use his powers because they end up being destructive. And I like that this is basically handcuffed the Flash. Well, it's definitely handcuffed Barry Allen because he was already late when he had super speed. But now you take that away and you kind of see that I don't want to say he's not a good person, but he's not a great coworker for sure. I
think he's kind of almost selfish in that situation. He's very self-centered. Like, obviously, he's not because he's this hero, but in the sense that he's very focused on his problems. Like here, he's feeling guilty because these bikers got killed and he didn't save them, and so it's all these things that kind of play into that. That he kind of just focuses on how things affect him, but he doesn't think of how this affects the rest of the precinct.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's maybe a little bit of a stretch to say he's selfish per se. I think it's more of a byproduct of because he's a superhero and because he so often has to think about what he's doing as the Flash. I think the idea that he then has to like put that aside when he's like
it's kind of this idea that he kind of looks down. It's like, no, my problems are more important, almost because they're Flash related. So it's kind of like he feels above them in some respects.
Yeah, I don't think he thinks that way about it, though. I think it's more like...
No, I don't think he does, but I think that's kind of how it comes across.
It's more of a natural kind of like... Alright, okay, yeah, there's stuff to go on the work, but I can't get my Flash powers working so that I can actually go and save people again. It's like... It's more like, okay, what's going on there is important, but it's kind of small potatoes. And I think that's maybe what you see here, and where he comes off as a bad co-worker, is it's like... I think he just like because up until now, when he's been the Flash and he's also been working at the police station, he uses his speed to make up for the fact that he's missing a lot of the time, and he'll jump in and he'll do things really quickly. So he'll still get everything done, but he'll be kind of in and out when he needs to be and when he's off doing other things. Whereas here, he then because there's a whole little moment where he comes in and he's handed all these files. He's like, well, normally I'd speed read these in like about 5 seconds. But I can't do that because they'll probably catch fire because I can't control my powers. So he has to do it the old-fashioned way, and it's like frustrating for him. So I like that this turned into basically the police side of him this issue, and it was mostly him with the co-workers, and it was mostly him figuring things out with them being pissed at him for not being around, them working this case, who's stealing the evidence, which they get to the bottom of. They sort of like figure out it's only blood work related things, and whoever was getting it knew what they were looking for, so it's someone who had access to the files, so they could sort of check things properly. And we obviously end with this thing where Barry goes to check the records of who was like signing in to look at them, and there's like, all these like either knocked out or dead like policemen and like lab workers, and he's like there's a fire and he's trying to like help them out, but he's got no powers, and to the point where he gets so weak that he collapses and he's left lying there in the fire. But I think what I liked about it is that the issue slowed down compared to the last one, literally in a lot of ways, because he's not using his speed, and it let us breathe a little bit in the story and let us actually suffer the consequences. Whereas the last issue, it was like, okay, he's talking about the consequences, but he's still doing stuff anyway. So it didn't really feel like it was really letting us feel the effects of them.
Yeah, whereas here he's, other than the flashback of the bit against Shrapnel, he's completely out of costume for the rest of the issue. But he's still doing some heroic things. Oh, Matt, your mic's good.
That makes one.
Still doing some heroic stuff. At the end where he's going, he's like, I forget the powers. I'm still going to do my best to save these people.
Yeah, which is a good moment.
It shows he's a good person.
Yeah, it's a good moment. Yeah. So
yeah.
Matt's whole he's a bad person malarkey goes out the window.
Well, no. That's why he said, I don't want to say he's a bad person, but like as a coworker, you can't count on Barry Allen. And now you couldn't do it before, and even now, because he still thinks he's going to do things by himself. And I think like that's the whole point of him being on this commission with the 2 detectives and the other crime scene tech.
Like I think he's forgotten how to be a person. On a human level, he's become more than that as the Flash.
Yep.
And his problems are bigger, and maybe he's right to be more focused on those because they are bigger problems that only he can deal with that these cops can't.
Yeah.
But it does mean that his job does suffer for it at times, and the people around him in that job, he kind of looks down on them without meaning to. It's I don't know. He's a good person obviously because he saves people, but he's not without flaws.
I think he's clearly a good person. It's just he focuses on other things. I think this is maybe examining the effect of that on the people around him, because even at the end of the last arc, it's about how has that affected Iris and keeping things from her and all that kind of things. His relationship with Wally's not exactly in a great place right now. I mean, the original Wally's about the only character you can probably still go to right now, and he won't be pissed at him for something. So
even his Speed Force powers are all jacked up.
That's not Barry's fault though, so you won't be mad at him.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like
it's not even go for help.
Right.
So, all of that said, Wally would be like, "Yeah, I'm going to help anyway."
He would, yeah. But maybe Barry's concerned about his heart, so he's not going to ask.
So you're assuming he knows.
He probably, because that rewrote reality as if it always happened. So I imagine that he would know about it just from. Yeah,
I guess. But then the other Titans didn't know when it happened. He still had to tell them.
I thought this was better than the last issue. This issue sold me a lot more in this arc, and I didn't hate the last one. Obviously, there was still a lot of positives with it, but this one felt more like a full meal to me. I think that's what I kept saying last issue. I kept saying it felt like an appetizer without the main course.
Like I said, I think last issue I didn't really get other than it just being set up with what was the point of this issue as part of it. But here it's I get it. This issue is showing the effects of not having his powers on the people around him in his job. It's showing how his relationships with his coworkers, who probably should be his friends because he should be seeing them every day, are not that great because he doesn't spend any time with them. Like when they go to the cop bar and he's kind of uncomfortable. He's like, maybe we shouldn't be talking about cases here because he's not part of the everyday job like the rest of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. Good, pretty decent issue, I'd say.
Yeah.
I guess that'll take us on to Batgirl number 14. Hope Larson writing and Chris Wildgoose is back on art after he had that one issue off, which is a really good issue to be fair. But he's back for this next arc, which is Summer of Lies, and this is a team up arc with Nightwing. So we get some Nightwing on week 4.
So already starting strong in our opinion, just on concept.
Well, sure, yeah, we like Nightwing a lot. We like Nightwing and Babs together a lot. Like these are things we like. And we have we have flashbacks in this. We have flashbacks of them kind of in the early days of Robin and Batgirl and what that relationship was like. And she had the grey outfit on, and he's got his kind of weird retcon Robin outfit on. And whatever the plot is here, something that happened this one summer back in their early days is the genesis of it. And we're obviously they're playing it for mystery. Like they're teasing a lot of things that they're not quite telling us. We know that the Mad Hatter is somehow involved. We know that this woman Ainsley, that was like a substitute teacher at Barbara's school in Gotham, which again showing you sort of where in the timeline we are, when she was that kind of age. And we know that something happened with her. We don't know if she's the villain or if she's a victim. Right. Because basically what happens is that Nightwing and Batgirl both get lured to this rooftop, and then this pair of girls who are dressed like Ainsley from their past, say that her blood is on your hands, not specifying who her is, like it's
Right.
said completely on its own, and then they commit suicide. So it's a really dark opening, and it sets like both of them off like, okay, what's going on? Like yeah, there was a like Ainsley from back that summer. Did you tell anyone about that? No, I didn't. Did you? Like, of course not.
No.
And they basically did just the only person who could maybe know something about it is Mad Hatter. So that tells us that he is probably going to pop up in these flashbacks, which seem like they're going to be running throughout the whole arc, given how they sort of start here. And
I'm okay with that. I'm really enjoying the flashbacks.
oh yeah, I'm digging the flashbacks as well. Mainly the like when Dick's like that line where she calls him a dick, and she clearly doesn't know his secret identity yet.
Yeah,
Right.
and he goes,
Yeah,
"Oh, you got no idea."
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So he's having fun with the puns. I do appreciate that. But no, I'm liking young Babs in school and like building this relationship with this character and like seeing her go back to like her dad and him being like kind of upset because she's out later than he was expecting
Yeah.
her and all that
Even
kind of stuff.
even though she went to go work, like and just imagine being transferred from Chicago to Gotham, and then your daughter ends up missing. Even though you're in the police and whatnot, like it was conveyed well through the art and words and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because he looks manic when he opens that door.
He does. He's proper leaning in. He's like, "Where were you?"
Exactly.
That's some good stuff. Actually, one of my panels that I really liked is in the middle of the book when they go to like Mad Hatter's lair, and
God, you are awful at speaking today.
I don't know. Give me peace. Cat's distracting me and everything. Shut up, cat. So there's a great panel where it's the cat from Alice in Wonderland's like in the background, and like Batgirl's like you just see her eyes, and it's like completely dark. So
Yeah,
really
her
nice
eyes are
panel.
glowing red.
Yeah, it's good stuff. She actually looks kind of demonic, but it's really nice. And I like that it's playing with the whole Nightwing Babs relationship because we see like the sort of the origin of it and like her thinking he's cute and he reveals that he's kind of an orphan and they kind of bond over it and they have these kind of sweet moments. But then in present day when they're looking up in like the computer from Mad Hatter's computer to find out who these girls were, they have this like she's getting kind of. These girls have committed suicide. They've been indoctrinated by Mad Hatter. It's went down this dark path, and Nightwing like sort of just kind of starts gradually like stroking her hair to try and make her feel better, and it's this kind of sweet moment, and it feels really sweet. And she gets kind of awkward, and she's like, "Okay, let's go and see Mad Hatter. He's at the hospital. Let's go do that." And I like that scene a lot because it was very complex. Because it's like, on the one hand, like they have this closeness, and Nightwing's trying to like make her feel better, but at the same time, like you did just break up with someone, and you just told her you broke up with someone.
Yeah.
It's kind of it has a bit of a reboundy kind of I want to make myself feel better by feeling comfortable with you kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, but at the same time, they have known each other since they were kids. And sure, he kind of creeped on her a little bit, but like she didn't make a big deal of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing. It's kind of like he makes the move because he wants to be affectionate, perhaps partly because of his own life right now. Like, he needs to feel close to someone.
And he's comfortable with Babs. They met on the top of that bridge tower, Yeah, that was a thing that we saw in both.
And she kind of, she quickly just sort of changes the subject and says, let's go. And Dick's reaction to that, like that last panel on that page where he's kind of looking after, like, oh shit, did I just mess up kind of thing. Like, he kind of, like... I like it because it's playing with the mentality of both characters and where they both are right now based on what's just went on in their own stories. So it's nicely put together from an editing point of view where it's like actually taking in the events of their own books on both sides of the stuff. So I appreciate that. It's good. So yeah, they go to Mad Hatter in the hospital and he's all beat up and like, okay, so who got to him first? Like someone's doing something and they speculate. And again, kind of like what we said. Is Ainsley still around? Because they say that's a possibility, so they don't think she's dead. So she doesn't die in the flashbacks. Right. But they say, is she the one whose blood was spilled, or is she the one behind this? Like, who... Right. Like, I think when we get to that last page, because what was it Mad Hatter says? The red lady?
Queen.
The Red
Queen.
The Red Queen is coming. When we get to that last page and we see the Red Queen like watching the monitors and she's like, it's the classic sort of villain, ha ha ha, I could defeat you now, but I will let you think you can win and you will feel much more pain kind of thing. Her smile is very similar to one of the panels of Ainsley smiling in the flashbacks.
Right, but for me, I feel like if they're going to show us the Red Queen here, And we're already obviously suspecting Ainsley potentially because they are as well.
No, I'm not saying it definitely is. I'm saying that there's an intentional choice here that they drew that smile the exact same because
right.
as soon as
it's a misdirect.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I went, "That is Ainsley's mouth," which is impressive because I've never seen this character before this issue, but I seen that
She's very distinct, you know. So they did a good job introducing her because when you see the two girls that are dressed like her that end up working for Mad Hatter. Another thing is they always go with Mad Hatter, the Wonderland theme. But I liked here that his hench people were all named after hats. Like he had Stetson and Pork Pie and then Beanie and I think Beret was the other girl. So, you know, they always go all in with Alice in Wonderland and they forget, like, no, he's a hatter and it's a mind control thing. So I thought that was pretty fun touch.
Yeah, that makes sense. So no, and I like some of the other stuff like Ainsley's, like, because I like how they've not even hinted at yet, like what actually happens with Ainsley. Because so far, she's been a substitute teacher. She ended up working with Batgirl because she's got a summer job, you know, at the restaurant that Babs is working at, and she's asked her to help with because she's you know she does computer stuff. She does coding and things like that, and she's asked for Babs' help. So far, it's just like, oh, they're building a friendship. But where does it go? Like, what dark turn does it take?
It's almost like she's grooming Babs.
Yeah,
because it's weird to have this teacher-pupil relationship outside of the school.
Yeah, it's like something else weird is going on. And actually, I really like how it kind of played with the transitions between the flashback and present day stuff. Because the flashback, the second flashback ended with them saying, "Oh," Robin says to her, "Oh, I've got this stakeout to do, like somewhere over town, at a warehouse or something." And he's like, "Do you want to join?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm in." And they grapple off the roof and they're going to do their stakeout. And it cuts directly to them arriving at the hospital in present day. And it's like it was a nice transition, very good.
Yeah.
So you know, Arrow could learn a thing or two about flashback transitions from this. That's all I'm saying.
Joe, one thing I will say that this issue really made me realize, like, I enjoy the new suit well enough. I think it's perfectly fine.
Batgirl.
Yeah. But this kind of made me miss having an actual suit.
I agree. I mean, I don't mind the sort of the makeshift kind of low budget looking suit that she's got now.
I think it has a nice style to it. But I kind of miss having an actual suit.
I like I am a big fan. I like the grey version of her suit, but I like the black and yellow. I like because I like this suit that she's got, and I like that this kind of still feels makeshift. But I do prefer this suit with the cowl. Like I like the actual ears on her, as opposed to this. But
she looks like.
She
looks like that character Misfit from Simone's run. You know?
Yeah.
She was kind of Batgirl, but not really.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Yeah, it's been a while, but.
So take a look at that if you guys don't know what it is, and then.
Don't get me wrong though. I'm not complaining about this suit because I like that this is like clearly the first like little bit of time. Like, this is maybe like a few months after she started becoming Batgirl. In fact, one of my little moments that I liked in the first flashback is. Like she's like, "Oh, you hear it?" Because it's across from the field where the cheerleaders are all practicing, and she's like, "Oh, you here to like spy on the cheerleaders? There's some cheerleading like plot going on." And then she has this little moment. She's like, "Why didn't Batman ask me to spy on the cheerleaders?"
Yeah, I like that. For me, it was like, was Dick just there because he was interested in her, or has Batman kind of gone to Dick going, "Go keep an eye on her"?
Yeah.
That's the funny thing. I could see it being either or because I feel like Batman would want an eye on her because it's those early days when he doesn't quite trust her yet. But at the same time, I could see it being, I don't know. Dick's like, I'll take that job. I'll go spy on the cheerleaders because he knows Babs.
You need someone to do it. I'll do it. Like Alfred's busy. I'll do it.
But it shows that he doesn't trust Babs that much yet because it actually would make more sense for Babs to spy on them because she's already at the school.
Yes,
she has a reason to be there. But no, so. I like this issue a lot. I think I'm going to enjoy this arc quite a bit.
Batgirl still maintain one of the most solid single shipping since Rebirth.
I think it is my favorite of the single shipping books.
Yeah, I think it's up there for me. I think you've got this, and you've got maybe Super Sons, and maybe another one that I'm forgetting. But like, there's a few that are sort of top of the cream. There's quite a few good ones though, and obviously Green Arrow's joining that soon, so that'll be up there.
At that point, then I have to reconsider: is Batgirl still my favorite?
Well, that's the thing though. Like, does it feel more special because it's once a month, where you sort of discount Green Arrow a little bit?
Or do I feel like it's moving slower because at the minute we're used to getting Green Arrow twice a month, and it's paced for twice a month. Does it keep the same pacing so it feels like we're not getting enough, or does he compensate for that?
I'm almost wondering if Percy just was tired of doing Titans and a double shipping, so they kind of knocked it to.
That's fair.
You know, they had sales wise. They're like, yeah, we could probably move it to single, and it'll still be fine.
Maybe he just has some, like, maybe he's going to start doing more, like, maybe tie-ins for some events that are coming up, or maybe he's going to be, maybe he's got like a novel to write or something.
Well,
so
I was going to say, I know he writes some novels as well. Maybe he just asked for some, reduced workload.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I hope he compensates in the pacing.
Yeah.
We'll find out in a couple of months, then, won't we? So. But no, so that's Batgirl, which is really good. I'm obviously Dick and Babs with flashbacks to them when they were teenagers is honestly an easy sell for us.
It's like, okay, yeah, I'm in.
It's a softball for us. I mean, Matt's yawning, but he's just tired. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm tired.
I'm really enjoying Wildgoose's art.
It's good. Yeah. I mean, obviously, we started with Albuquerque, which is like a lot to live up to.
It feels like a little bit of a step down because.
What's Albuquerque?
Albuquerque, so it's not really an insult. But at the same time, it's been very consistent. It's there's been more issues of him now than Albuquerque, so it's kind of like, okay, this is the book's tone now.
Yeah. And to the book's credit, or to whoever's like picking the artist, I didn't feel a step down for the last issue that was like the winner. Like that was also very good. Arguably better, in fact. I think I might have liked that better. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look at it again. It's been a whole month. I have to compare these things. But so that's Batgirl. That'll take us on to Teen Titans number 11. Benjamin Percy, Speak of the Devil. And then there's 3 names listed for art on this. Khoi, Pham, Phil Hester, and Trevor Scott on the art. So this was the second part of this. No, actually, sorry, it's the final part of this 3-part story, which is the not the origin, but the rise of Aqualad. And everything that's been going on with that, and Manta, and him going after the Black Pearl, and it basically amounts to Manta kind of looks like he actually cares about his son a little bit, because he sort of saves him from the big giant monster, and he's like, fight with my son, and it's like, oh, maybe he doesn't actually care. But then in the very next scene with them, he's like grabbing him by the hair and telling him how pathetic he is, and throwing him up against the door, because like only his like DNA can open it because he's from Sebela, and it's like, okay, there you go. It's like, okay, he's the worst father ever. Like, he's actually terrible. There's very few that I can think of who are worse. And he gets the Black Pearl, and that gives him sort of fancy water powers that turn orange and stuff, and he's doing all sorts of crazy things.
Yeah. Not what I was expecting. Like, from what we saw with the pirate last time, he just basically was able to make, like, moray eel constructs that could hold people down. Like, I didn't see how he could command the ocean. It was weird.
I think that's maybe just because he just gets it. I think if I've got any complaints, it would honestly just be that he gets defeated with it really quickly and easily. Everything else, though, I did quite like. I liked the rest of the team coming to find him, and like Starfire being a leader here, and like cracking our quips at Damien. Beast Boy soaking Damien, comes out the water as the whale.
Yep.
That was a funny little moment. So there was some stuff like that, and basically the issue ends with the defeat. Well, I suppose I shouldn't gloss over the fact that Aqualad has like an extra part to his powers. He actually can put electricity through his water.
Yeah.
So that gives him a bit of a difference and a bit of an A game to fight. That's how he beats Black Manta. But at the end of the issue, so they welcome as a new official member of Teen Titans. Tempest shows up. And he actually gives him the name Aqualad, and he's like, yeah, you can have that now. He's got his sort of new suit, and he's like, okay, if you need any help, if you need any sort of water people advice, for lack of a better expression,
is that a technical term?
Come see me. Yeah. I'm free for you, young Aqualad. So, no, it's fun. Honestly, there's not a whole lot to go. Obviously, there's the ending that teases some stuff for later, but. Other than that, it's again, it's kind of what Teen Titans has been. It's fun character moments with them interacting, and Mant is an awful person, and that was fun to see him get beat. I do think that the fight is over a bit too quick, and it felt a bit easy. It's like oh, he's looking for this great power, and he's dealt with so quickly. But other than that, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was. I liked when Tempest showed up, and it showed like this Teen Titans has that bridge with Titans,
Yeah.
that's there, so they don't feel completely isolated from one another. And then also with new Aqualad with Jackson, like he didn't need the sword handles, like his power is completely untapped, and so I like that they're playing with his potential down the line.
Although I did like the water swords, like those were pretty fun.
Oh, I mean he still has them,
Yeah.
like they're his training wheels, as Damien likes to mess with, but
I
still
still
really benefits from not being so Damien heavy, like earlier issues have been.
Yeah, that's fair. I enjoy Damien well enough, but yeah, it was nice to like maybe take a break from that and have other characters kind of take the forefront a little bit. So they also, by the way, they give him a cake for cause they throw him a little party for like joining the Teen Titans, and the cake, of course, is shaped in a big T because of course it is. But we get this final tease. Someone's watching this. Some mysterious person with computers is watching this, and they're wanting Beast Boy for some reason. It's like, oh, he looks like a moron. He's perfect. So that's teasing something. Probably not for the next issue, because the next issue is part of the crossover, the Gotham Resistance thing that's going to be happening. But then it says in issue 13, Kid Flash comes back, so that should be exciting. That should be fun. Which actually brings me to another point that I get glossed over is Damien given Raven shit for saying that's her boyfriend, and she gets all mad. And, that's probably the most like young teen it's felt. Is like someone's like, oh, you like him. It's like, no, I don't. Shut up. Was basically the gist of it. But she has like demonic powers, so it makes it a bit more intimidating.
Yeah.
And of course, Damien, doesn't get scared because he's Damien, and he has to show that he's the most macho of people ever. So, but no, that's fun. Bright and colourful. Despite the fact that it has 3 artists, I didn't feel like it was being too inconsistent. It felt relatively.
No, I forgot
similar.
that there's only 3 artists on this one. So
only? You wanted more?
Well, no. I just I remember reading that when I read through the credits, but then as the week's gone on, till we recorded, I was like, oh yeah, there was 3 because it wasn't jarring.
So now I get to take a break for about 3 books because we have a nice little run that I'm not reading for one reason or another. So first up in that batch we have Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 27, Robert Venditti on writing, and on the art we have Rafael Sandoval and Jordi Tarragona, or is it Tarragona?
Don't know, but they're just the inker.
But they're just the inker. All right, okay.
Yep.
Blame Diamond for listing them as an actual.
So I just
artist.
had to double check. I just double checked it. Yeah, it's just Rafa Sandoval.
Fair enough. There you go. So issue 27. By all means, take it away. Did interesting things happen? Did Matt get his guy fixed this week?
No. Sadly.
There's a little bit of guy, but definitely not enough.
No.
No.
I signed on to this for the Arkillo guy bromance, and then I only got it for 6 issues, and now we're moving on to New God stuff, and that's what made me quit Venditti last time. I'm not gonna quit because I know this is only
it's just one arc, isn't it?
Yeah, and I liked some of the stuff that they'd set up earlier, but these golems I don't care about. It's such a weird thing for the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah, so basically, it turns out these golems, they're programmed to hunt Orion. This specific one is after Orion. Right. And the whole idea was Highfather's father.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, oh no, they're all going to depose me. So, he basically tried to wipe them all out. And he programmed
it's very Greek mythology.
It is. It's the Titans.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Titans to the gods. That's all it is. But he's basically like, I'm going to wipe them all out, and I'm going to send these golems, and each one's programmed to go after a certain one. It's just the idea that it stopped attacking because Orion was actually dead, but once they restarted his heart, that's it. It started coming again.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not that interesting. They're just these big things. The only interesting thing is they did confirm they are made out of ent metal.
Yeah, and I only feel it feels so wedged in there because of metal. Because they said that that Highfather's father, right? You gotta fight. I was looking for his name here.
Yuga something?
Yeah, where's it? Let's see. Well, yeah, Yuga Khan.
Yeah.
And they put him into the source wall, and it's kind of hinted that when they did that, it activated the nth metal. So again, it just plays into that map that we saw in Metal.
Yeah.
You know, but still, why are they coming now? Like,
That's it. It kind of feels convenient. It's
Yeah.
not bad. It's just it doesn't really justify its existence yet as a story.
no. And so when Orion cuts out a start, like this is since I've been reading comics, this is like the fourth time I've seen Orion die, for all intents and purposes.
To be fair,
And-
this one was not supposed to be a dead death. It was
No,
always,
but-
that was the plan.
Yeah, but still, I've had to see it again. And he cuts out his heart, basically.
Yeah.
And Kyle, because he's an artist, is able to make this theoretical machine that one of Salak's, like the head doctor on Salak's planet, dreamed up. And so you needed an artist to fully
Honestly,
render it.
it's some pretty intricate plans by the look of it. I feel like any competent Green Lantern could have done it.
But they're definitely striking him that Kyle's the artist because he calls
It
him
is.
out there.
Honestly, I think John would have been better because he's the architect. It's like,
Exactly.
gold in this, the nitty gritty of these things.
Well, yeah, and Tomasi during his, the Emerald Warriors run, where he broke down each of the other lanterns, and specifically he had said that John builds things from the inside out.
Right,
Like-
even it showed how intricate his constructs are, didn't it?
And they don't have to be because Kyle's the artist, and they're usually these big, phenomenal, like abstract things. And with Hal, it's just seat of his pants, whatever he can think of at the moment.
It's always planes. That's what he
Action.
knows.
Exactly. Well, sometimes it's a boxing glove.
But it's
and
always very
whatnot.
simple.
Yeah, and so coming from Kyle, it kind of goes against Brand. And I get why they did it, but now he has to keep Orion alive because he needs to keep this heart pump. It's basically a synthetic heart that keeps his blood pumping, even though he's not technically alive, and which keeps the golem away. So I don't know. It seems like the golem's too much because you see that Hal is just taking licks from it.
Yeah.
But
I
not
did
giving up.
get a little bit of a chuckle when Hal's just lying there asking for a timeout.
Yep.
But like I said, it's the Kyle stuff that I don't think Venditti gets. Kyle and Hal are pretty much the two that he doesn't get most. I think he gets John. I think he gets Gar.
Mm-hmm.
But this here, I don't know why they had to bring up that he was an artist. Like this feels like the sort of thing that any competent Green Lantern could construct this because the plans are there. They just need to visualize it and imagine it. And I believe that they could. But then it's down to, his concentration that keeps it, he has to keep it there for a long time. That stuff Kyle doing's fine, but the idea of him being an artist didn't really need to play into this at all for me.
Mm-mm. And then, so in order to find out why the golems are after Orion, they bring in former Sinestro member, Tulob, which I love his name.
It's pretty good.
And yeah, he's a telepath. So they basically have him search into Orion's brain.
Yeah.
And
See what's going on, and there's like, all right, where's Highfather? Because obviously the other golem's going to be after him as well.
Yep.
And the answer is with Light Ray. And they're just, by the sounds of it, racing across the multiverse, trying to keep out of reach of the golems.
Yep. And so now it's the hunt for Light Ray, it looks like.
Yep.
Because they need to get to him. And it's Hal. We're getting more Venditti and Hal.
Yeah.
So,
this
Your
makes a
favorite.
bit of this makes a bit of sense to me though. Like the idea that Light Ray's really quick, so let's send the guy who does the fighter planes.
yeah. But still, I feel like I don't know.
Feel like Hal probably is the quickest Lantern, just in the sense that because he doesn't stop to think about it, so he just does it.
But see, this is where if it wasn't Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps, if it was just the Green Lantern Corps, you could put a new Green Lantern that we hadn't seen yet, and it would make sense. But yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's definitely, I like the art. Like,
that's real nice.
Like, the way he draws Kyle's mask kind of bothers me, but that's because I hate Kyle's mask, like the crab shell.
I'm with you on that. It's like, but I don't blame that on any artist. Like,
No.
There's only 2 or 3 artists I've ever seen where I don't hate that mask.
Exactly. And they're giving Kyle longer hair again, which is like his '90s look, which is cool. Because it's just been kind of that short, on the top Ion look that he's had. So, but yeah, and he does some fun stuff with the layouts. Like there's the last page is shaped like a lantern symbol.
Yeah. And the one where looked where Tulib's looking into Orion's mind, it's all like fractured, but it's these pieces of a puzzle that fit together. It's really quite nice.
Yeah. So
the one bit I had a real problem with structurally as a part of the issue is John's going, every time we cross paths with the new gods, he's like, and it says ... and you can see it in the art, like it's like this, whatever happened was not good. Right. But then we get this full page spread to, I assume, what was in that last story, because this is when I know I didn't make it to that arc, because I do not recognize this. It looks like a big yellow fear bomb on maybe War World.
Yep. It's definitely a War World. It's definitely a synthetic.
Right. But I'm looking at this going, I don't know what that is, and I don't know why that's here. It's a full page wasted as far as I'm concerned, because all it does is, if you've read it already and you already know what John was referencing, if you haven't read it, then it's just, what's this? It doesn't add anything, because you still have all the emotion from John before and after.
Unless it's like, unless he got a prophecy that we don't know about because we didn't read it, and he's been trying not to get it. That's why he tried to unite the green and the yellow, so there wouldn't be this big giant fear bomb. But if that's the case, they did a really terrible job at conveying that.
Because the way he says it, he goes, every time we cross paths with them, and then ... and then we go into that page, and then come out of it, something bad happens. So to me, this is what happened in the last time. That's what it implies here. If that's wrong, then that's a fault of the writing for implying that. If it's not wrong, it's a waste of a page. Either way, I'm kind of annoyed at that.
You and me both. Because Venditti and the New Gods, not my cup of tea. Tom King and the New Gods, on the other hand, so down.
I kind of want this arc to be over. The bright side is Metal should drag it away, so it can't be that long an arc.
Yeah, there's 2 issues. No, there's 1 issue of Green Lantern Corps in the second crossover in November, so
this is probably going to be a 6-issue arc, most.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
Which is about right. But...
I mean, we're third through. I can live. It's not the problem is it's not really that bad. It's just kind of boring.
Well, that's it. You have it chasing down Orion, and then it just seems like, Orion's like, I'm just gonna stop my heart, and then you guys can deal with whatever it is. And it's like, how about you be a little bit more helpful, man? Like,
yeah.
Well, let's swiftly move on. I think we'll make these 2 a little bit quicker since it's just 2 oneers. So Connor's on his own, going to be talking about the Hellblazer issue 13 by Tim Seeley, who's on the book for 1 arc.
Yeah.
Jesus Merino did the art. So, did this? Have you actually read up until now? Have you read the first 12?
And no, I read the first 6, and then I kind of left it because I just kind of lost interest a little bit.
Okay.
It wasn't bad, but it just lost me.
So did Seeley on issue 13 kind of pull you back in?
I enjoyed it quite a bit. I enjoyed it even more the second term because it's essentially a murder mystery is what he's doing here. He's got 1 arc with John Constantine. He's doing a murder mystery, which is, I think, interesting because I don't think that it's probably not what most people's first instinct to do with the character would be. No. I imagine. So that's interesting, and it starts pretty interesting. Like he wakes up, he's in the room, and there's this clanking coming from the air vent, and then he's just showered in blood, and it's a pretty cool image. But it basically boils down to he gets investigated by the cops because they're like, hey, we think you might be involved in this because it's come out of your apartment and all that. And essentially, it's just this guy who he got in an argument with the night before, and he didn't do anything. Like, nothing actually happened. He didn't do anything. He went in and went to bed after a few drinks. But after he left, what he was kind of imagining he'd have done to the guy is what happened. He talks about how he wished he'd, punched him, thrown him around, and like taken him up to the roof and thrown him in the fan. And obviously, but then we're watching the police view the CCTV, and that's exactly what's happening. Is him doing those actions? It looks like he's being punched around and thrown about and dragged.
Is it like someone actually doing it, or is it like an invisible entity?
It looks like it's invisible. Like
Right.
nothing's actually there except the guy, but he's kind of making the motions.
Okay.
And this cop investigator, she knows about magic, and she knows about John being involved with magic. So she's like, I know you could be this. You didn't need to be there physically for you to have done this. But we're presented as it wasn't him, because he's like, no, these were my thoughts, these were my dreams, but I didn't actually act on them. So it's the mystery is, is what's doing this? Is it something that's kind of feeding off his dreams and then, just acting them out? Or is it he's subconsciously projecting the magic and doing it without realizing? But it's kind of gruesome. Like there's lots of just, you actually see this guy jump into the fan and just splat everywhere. It's pretty glorious.
Good.
And then we get to the end. John's just doing some investigating, trying to figure out what's going on, and some demons pop up.
I like a good fan kill.
It's pretty cool. But I'm digging it. I enjoy murder mysteries, and this is solid. But it's like the start of most murder mysteries. There's not a lot to go on yet. There's just the hook of what was it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Hellblazer guy, so I'm not really fussed enough.
So far, there's not like a lot of magic stuff going on though. Like it's really just about the investigation of what happened.
Yeah, it's just, there's not enough to really entice me in to check it out. But I'm sure you're gonna. I assume you're gonna keep covering it for the rest of the arc.
Yeah, I probably will.
Cool. So you can expect the next issue of that next month then. So that's pretty cool. So next up, Matt's going to talk about Batman Beyond number 11. Dan Jurgens writing and Bernard Chang on art. Up until last month, I had been reading this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And last month, I spoke about how I was kind of getting to the point where I was like, yeah, I don't think I need to read this, at least not sort of, issue to issue. And apparently when I went to read my books this week and I like almost got it, I was like, do I actually want to read it? I'm not sure if I do. And once you're actually starting to feel that way, it's like, well, you probably don't then if you're thinking that way.
Yep.
So we'll find out if Matt's sticking with it beyond this issue, because I have a sneaking suspicion he's not.
No. So this just basically continues the Damian storyline. Him and Terry, and he keeps calling him the usurper. He gets mad, or the pretender, not the usurper. It's completely different. But
That's Game of Thrones, Matt.
That's Game of Thrones. But that's basically the same thing here, But so Damian loses it because he thinks that Terry and the AI in the suit killed Goliath. And so Bruce goes over there and checks him out, just, because he's taking all this in. He's like, well, I can't have these two keep fighting. How can I stop it? Because now that Damian's been personally slighted, he's not going to stop until Terry's dead. And conversely, the AI suit, now it's in full gear, is not going to stop until Damian is dead because he's a constant threat. So it looks like it's a Kobayashi Maru type of no-win scenario. But Bruce ain't got time for that. So he kind of lets the boys fight it out, and he's going to, hopefully they can stalemate at the moment, and he's just going to stop the bombs that Damian was going to launch as part of the League of Assassins. But Ubu's son decides that, no, he's not going to let the League of Assassins be defeated by Batman one more time, and he decides that he's going to launch him. And you kind of find out that Ubu had to... They looked at him like he was dishonored because the amount of times that Batman's defeated him. And so Ubu kills himself in like an honor killing. And so his son is always...
He commits seppuku?
Yeah, because he had failed so many times. And his son, who I can't remember his name, but it's along those lines. It's Koru. Says, my father died a defeated man because of you. And, so he's held this against Bruce his entire life. And he's just going to do this anyway. And that he's not going to let Batman interfere ever again. And it's kind of that moment that Damian and Terry snap out of it, of fighting each other, and they turn on Koru to take him out. And Max and Matt they finally sunk into where they are with the satellite, which cracked me up with Connor's Brother Eye mentions he's been bringing up, because it's in this future, Brother Eye has taken over, so it's kind of like, well, why would Wayne Tech still be keeping satellites?
Is this still from the when they did the Future's End stuff in New 52? Is
That's
this
also
still
happened.
that continuity?
Yeah, because they talked about in the first arc how Terry was gone for a while as Batman.
Because obviously that spun out of that Future's End stuff originally.
Yep. And so after they take out Khoi, they go back to fighting. Well, the AI suit goes to fight Damien, and Terry's able to finally fight it off, and he pulls off the cowl. And Bruce is just kind of like, well, no, you can't do that. Like, you can't put that suit back on because you've overcome it. But Damien tells Bruce, he's like, well, he's strong enough. He's just like me. I overcame it. He did. So you need to let him do what he needs to do. And it turns out Goliath's not dead. He just...
Oh, that's nice.
I feel like Jurgens, though, was just like, I can't kill the cool dragon bat. Like...
Yeah, that was a bit cruel.
That's a bit too far, but he was just, taken out. But the missiles do end up getting launched because Koru's not exactly gone, because they didn't let Terry's suit finish the job. And so Terry has to fly up there in this new suit and disable all of the missiles. And he's successful, and he ends up falling back to Earth. But as he's falling, Damien gets launched from the Batmobile with a jetpack, it seems, or a parachute. I'm not quite sure because the art's a little... and catches him mid-flight. So now they're one big happy family. And Damien's going to use the League of Assassins for good. But I guess he's going to need a name change, because I don't think how you can be a League of Assassins and fight on the side of the Angels there.
Assassinate the bad guys.
I guess. But that's kind of Red Hood's thing, and that's not okay by Bruce.
Yeah, League of... The
Protectors?
Yeah.
Protecting ninjas.
Yep.
Nah, and you lost it.
But they make a big deal at the end that Terry is like Bruce's son, because he says it's okay, to let your sons. It's okay to be a dad, Bruce. And Bruce's like, yeah, it's even better when I have two sons, Terry. And it's like, well, dude, you got like 6 kids. So I don't know why this is such a big deal. You had Dick, and you had Tim, and Damien, and Jason, and now you have Terry. So I don't know. It's very underwhelming. It's not a bad read, but it's just like, I don't know. There's other things I can be reading and coming up.
Yeah, it's not a bad book. Like, I was enjoying it to a point well enough for long enough. It was just it got to the point where I was like, it was getting lower in the priority every time it was coming out, and I was just kind of looking at it going, oh, it was starting to feel like a chore to have to add it on to the rest of the books. I didn't feel like it was important. I could see it reading quite well though in trade and stuff later. Like, maybe I'll go back and read a chunk of it.
Well, that's it. Like, I'm very intrigued still by the Joker stuff that got set up at the end of the first arc. And I want to see where Terry goes now, because now we know that this new suit's a no-go. Like, yeah, he can overcome it, but I don't think that they're going to keep going forward with the whole AI and him having to keep it in check. So it's like, well, is it just going to be more Batman Beyond adventures? Because if that's the case, cool. But again, I don't need to read it month to month. I'll get it in trade, like Pete was saying. But yeah, that's my run on 11 issues of Batman Beyond. I hope for the best, and the first arc was pretty fun with the Jokers and him being Matches Malone's son. But yeah, and it's just weird that most of my casualties have come on week 4.
Yeah, like I say, week 4's kind of ended up in this weird week because I don't usually have 3 books in a row that I didn't read. The 2 you have, which is a little bit strange. So. Alright, well, I'll take us on to sort of the out-of-continuity minis, and the first one, of course, we have a new one that started this week, which is Nightwing, The New Order, Issue 1, Kel Higgins writing and Trevor McCarthy on art. And this, of course, is set in a dystopian future where Dick Grayson has decided that superpowers and superheroes are a bad idea, and he has basically went full fascist. He killed the Justice League, he killed Superman, and he now runs a sort of organisation that hunts down anyone with superpowers who... There's a little bit of equilibrium in here, if anyone's ever seen that movie, where all the people with powers take these meds to, like, dampen their powers so they can't use them, and it's illegal for them not to take that. So the idea is that if anyone goes off their meds, they have to hunt them down. But we learn a few other things, of course, throughout the issue, where there's some people, depending on where the powers come from, the meds don't work, and those people are basically being frozen in, like, camps until they can figure out how to stop their powers.
Wow, that has a lot of commonality with the storyline here from the first issue.
Yeah. Wait, what? No. I described the plot of this issue.
Okay, I thought that was still you were going off of Equilibrium.
Oh, no. Equilibrium is in that movie. Gotcha. They take the whole thing is that feelings have been outlawed, so they take meds to stop their feelings from happening. Okay, that was the only part that was the only part that was relating to the issue.
Because I've never seen Equilibrium, so I'm like, whoa. Sorry.
That was my bad. I didn't make that clear enough. No. That was the only part. The rest of it was just this book. So we see Dick. He's got this kind of army, and he still seems pleasant enough, at least at face value. He's going to work. He's interacting with his co-workers. He's being kind of friendly, and the narrator's kind of like, we don't know who the narrator is. Or we do kind of early on, but it's like it's kind of obvious.
It's my dad.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious that it's his child, but we don't get to see who the narrator is until later, and it's probably building to something at the end of the issue, and it's sort of building throughout. And it has this kind of like sad tone. Like you can tell the narrator's much older than they were at the time of the story's taking place. It sounds like they've already went through a lot of things with Dick. So that kind of happens throughout the issue. So we have that. We have tidbits of what went down. Of course, the big thing is that, you know, Dick goes home for dinner and Alfred's there. So we get a bit of the idea of how the world is based through on like what Alfred's opinions are, other things that are hinted. And all that kind of thing. And obviously there's also hints of like there's someone, because we actually find out later on in the issue, but earlier on they're like, oh, someone stole a lot of these meds that stop the superpowers, could it be him? And then later on we find out that that's Wally West they're talking about. Wally West.
I like that you can you see the lightning on that bit where it says, they show him the image and it's like, it is him. And we're kind of also going, oh, is it Wally? Like, because you kind of get into Flash, but you go, this is Dick, it's got to be Wally, because that's the one that gives it the connection to the story.
It would mean more if it was Wally, yeah. But still, you're not really completely sure. You're like, oh, okay, it looks like it was a speedster, but like, you know,
which one?
Yeah, which one exactly? So that goes on, but it turns out that his kid's the one narrating it, and it's sort of, even the narration kind of pokes fun at it, or you can kind of see where this is going, and he kind of can at the end, because he gets called into the school, like something's happened, and the big cliffhanger at the end is that his son has just developed a superpower, which he seems to have inherited from his mother, who they refer to a couple of times. They say, oh, she's not around, she's not spoke to us in a while, we're in a bad place, does he ask about her anymore, those kind of things. And given the power that seems to be coming from him, the mother would appear to be Starfire. Yeah. So, I guess, Matt, did you enjoy Nightwing: The New Order? Since I've just went through kind of the gist of the book.
Just as well, when this was announced, Matt was pretty against it, just on a concept level of Dick being a fascist.
Well, there's that. I don't like my heroes becoming villains that way. So that's why I haven't read Injustice, because I don't need to read about fascist Superman. Like that's something I don't need in my life. Here though, I feel like again, Higgins managed to pull something off because it's not a bad read. Now I don't necessarily like what I'm reading, right? Just because there's things that don't make sense in Dick Grayson's character that I get, like, huh?
I'm agreeing there is, yeah.
Yeah. He's the heart and soul of the DC universe, right? And, like, you could have made this I'd buy this more out of Tim Drake, because Dick has so many friends that are superpowered. Like, look at his new Teen Titans with Beast Boy.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what makes me wonder. Is it like is this what was it so bad that broke him? Is like no, this has to stop. Like, I'm intrigued.
Well, that's the thing. When you say you can see it out of Tim, you're like, yeah, because Tim thinks so logically that you can. I don't necessarily think he would, but you can see where maybe he could go down that path. Like, as a possibility. Yeah. With Dick, it just doesn't feel right. And even the book writing kind of pokes at that. It's like, his kid always keeps talking about how he hates to let people down, and it never hurt more than when it was Alfred that he felt let down.
Exactly.
So it is playing with those expectations. My opinion on this book is that I do think it's a good read. Because I like science fiction dystopian worlds like this. I think it builds its world very well. It sets up all its ideas very well. I don't think the issue, though, at least so far, it could in a later issue, but at least so far, it's not justified to me, as of yet, why this is a Dick Grayson story and why it's not someone else. Yeah. Like,
it's almost like shock value that it's being Dick.
It kind of, because I could see this being original characters, and I feel like it would read just as well. So far.
See, I disagree on that point. Like, I don't know if it has to be Dick, but things like, okay, so we already have expectations of Dick, so it plays with them as like, what was so bad that made him do this? So if this was an original character, we probably wouldn't be asking what was so bad that this happened. But then also, the moment with the Wally West stuff, you're kind of going, that was Dick's best friend. How's this affecting him now that they're kind of rivals in this? And I think there is things already being set up that this does benefit from being Dick Grayson. I still agree that it's kind of weird, and I'm not sure I still want this to be Dick Grayson, but I can see the point of it.
I understand all the story beats. I don't like the story beats, though, because, again, you look into the character's history, and Wally West is his best friend, and he dated an alien that had, superpowers, and there was, Raven and her half demon side, and they all came together for good. Like, here it's almost like, well, I had to take out the superheroes for the good of mankind. I was like, well, no, because now you're becoming a human supremacist. Like, we don't have powers. To me, this is, and I'm not accusing Higgins of this in the slightest, but it's the people that go, well, Batman's a better hero because he doesn't have superpowers. And it's like, well, why?
Yeah, I don't think that's the point of this story.
Oh yeah, and it's worth mentioning here as well is that Batman's dead. That's brought up, right? So Batman clearly was not on board, I don't think, with what Dick's plan was here. Yeah.
And also, even just the fact that his son is questioning him, like going, "Is this really the man he should be?" Like, the son's kind of like us. It's like we know this isn't really Dick Grayson, not how it should be. So why?
So yeah, I'm interested in where it goes, because what would make him go like, well, I'm a superhero, but I don't have powers, so I'm still allowed to do this, because that's even brought up when they're chasing Dr. Light, and he's flying through the rooftops just like he was Nightwing again, but he's dressed in his Crusader uniform. He's like a cop.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, what's the difference? Like, just because you don't actually have gifts? Like, it always boils down to that X-Men. The difference between Professor X and Magneto, and here, it's just like, it just drives me nuts because I love Nightwing.
Yeah,
so much.
It feels because I honestly believe that Dick Grayson, no matter what, would never go down this path. And this is the thing. It's like, okay, so they're building up to what this big reveal is going to be. Where this is what caused them to make this choice. But I don't know if they can actually pull it off.
Don't think there's any? No, I agree. There's nothing that it could be.
Because even if he has this opinion where everyone has to stop using superpowers, I don't think he would go about it by killing the heroes. Like, he would maybe try and talk to them about it. He'd maybe try and convince them that they should make changes and whatever.
And you look on that first page, and Captain Cold's there, and Lex Luthor's there, and it's like, well, those aren't superpowered people. So, like, was he just, like, tired of seeing them fight? And it was just like, it's the Marvel Civil War type.
Right, I feel like there's some more context we really need to those first two pages.
Because when the kid talks about it, when the kid's getting put to bed later on in the book, he refers to it as blowing something up. Like, that's why you blew it up. Like, it sounds like it was the main thing that happened was he set off a bomb of some kind that took out a lot of them, or took out something.
Yeah. But I also don't think he would do that to Superman. Like, he gets his name from him.
Right. That's it. I think there is a core problem there that it's maybe why would Dick do this? And I kind of just
that's the point of the story.
Right, it is, but I kind of overlook that. I go, right, I'm just going to pretend that whatever the reason they give me is good enough. Just even though I know it probably isn't, and I'm probably going to go, yeah, but Dick still wouldn't do that. I'm going to just go along and go, okay, I'm just going to go with it and see how the rest of it is. And once you kind of just accept that, it's a really good read, I think.
No, it's solidly written. It's just this weird thing where, okay, yeah, sure, some things are playing in a certain way because it's these characters that I know, but I can also see this being a completely just original set of characters in an original world, and it would play almost just as well. A few different things, maybe, like a few different, in a different way in a couple of cases, but it would still work. I can see this as the start of a science fiction movie. It would just totally work. You set up this flashback at the start where he killed all these other people because they had powers, and he used to help them, but now he doesn't. Like you could set up the core things that make the story work quite just as easily.
The core story, definitely. I think there's like some of the more intricate character pieces, like his relationship with Alfred and things like that. Like this is all played on our previous knowledge and expectations.
It is, but I can easily see this scene playing without that, and it would still work as a scene. It would just have a slightly different tangent to it, but it would still work just as well as setting up these characters, because you'd get that he disapproves, and that Dick cares that he disapproves. You instead of going, oh, it's Wally, you'd go, oh, who's this? Who's affecting him so much? It would just build the intrigue.
Different questions though, isn't it?
But it was.
We'll see. Well, I was going to say Higgins has done this with his Cowl series.
Yeah.
Because this was the kind of the crux of why did the heroes stop being heroes? Something had happened, and that was more the mystery versus one of them turning and doing this for the greater good.
Yeah.
And so I know he has it in him from what issues I read there, and it's good to have him back. And I know from different things I've read and heard from Higgins, he has a deep love of Dick Grayson, the character. So that's why I'm keeping this open to go at least another couple issues. But I felt so dirty reading it because I don't like this type of storytelling.
That's the problem. It's like I really enjoyed the actual story, the writing, and I really enjoyed it, but I kind of didn't necessarily want to enjoy it because it's just not quite right.
I mean, because part of me thinks that there's going to be some ending that kind of justifies it, not in the sense that it'll justify that Dick would ever do this, but an ending that, I don't know, either retcons the whole thing, like somehow they fix it at the end. Like whatever the problem was. Like,
see, so you seem to think that Starfire's son because of their history, right?
Well, and the energy looking beams that are coming from them look very Starfire-y to me.
But see, to me, that looked more like what Raven does when she gets all, and if he was right, like Raven's mostly human, where Starfire's straight up from what's her planet? Tamarin, yeah. So I thought that's why she's not around anymore. She went to whatever dimension, and she kind of just left Dick with this kid.
Well, yeah, but the kind of same works for Starfire, doesn't it? She just went back to the other planet.
Yeah. So, but I'm just, if we're going to do the timey-wimey, and maybe this goes back around and gets prevented, I can see magic happening more than...
Magic, but we also have Wally, a speedster, so there's definitely avenues for this to go down.
But see, and this is the difference with good storytelling versus shocking storytelling, where at least we're being able to have a discussion about all this and why it doesn't feel right, versus just going, yeah, well, that's just kind of out of character and that's not good.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel like this is done just for the shock value's sake. I think there is a legitimate story going on here.
Oh, no, because I feel like when you set it as a separate mini, when it's not something that's in continuity, and you say, this is the premise of the book, is we want to explore this idea. It doesn't feel like it's just shock value, because at least, okay, you're going to explore it, even if I don't think it's something that I want to see explored necessarily. Yeah. But the thing is, as we've talked about, it's well written. You take out the characters that are actually in it, and it's actually a pretty good little dystopian sci-fi story about.
And also, just you said there something I don't necessarily want to see. That's the thing. Like, just because we don't necessarily want to see this, lots of people might want to.
Right.
Well, but hold on, wait a minute. That's also a bit of an assumption, because how many Dick Grayson fans want to see Dick Grayson in this role?
Well, we don't know, do we? Maybe some people like what if? A lot of people do like just seeing what if situations. It's like
Twitter people. Let us know if you are a Dick Grayson fan. Like what your instant thoughts were when you heard this.
You can kind of look at something like Red Sun, like it's a very different Superman. And
Yeah, but
I
at
think
the
a lot of
end though,
Superman.
he wasn't in Red Sun. That's
No,
that
that's
was
that's the point. By the end of the story, yeah, but at the start of that story, and you know, if you're just told the premise, you go, "Do I necessarily want this?" And I think
but
maybe
that's a
the same
completely
thing.
different Superman. That's not Superman going like, "Yo, see you later, America. I'm gonna go and hang out
Yeah,
in Soviet Russia."
the key difference here is that
Yeah.
this is supposed to be the Nightwing of more or less what we think of as classic DC
Right.
continuity, who then
Right.
decides to do this, and it's like, well, that's a bit weird. Like, I don't mind, like, because yeah, if you just like that with Batman and say, oh, Batman instead of being, you know, instead of his parents being shot, like he grows up with parents, and like how does that affect him? That's maybe an interesting idea. Superman again, Red Sun is
Just
just
from the start.
he lands in Russia. What if he landed in, I don't know, Canada? Like, how does that affect where Superman goes in the story?
Yo, keep that to ourselves. We're gonna do that one. Yeah, we've tangented way far off than any Elseworlds could tangent. But Canadian Superman is a thing I want to see now. Damn it! And he carries a hockey stick, right? Because he has to.
Can Superman get more polite?
Yes.
I think he's basically just the same, except his emblem has two hockey sticks behind it and a cross.
Yeah. He's the same, except they're better at getting their government to take care of its people. Like, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, with Nightwing, like it is an Elseworlds tale, but still, we have to grapple with this as a Nightwing that we're all familiar with, versus
Well, because that's where it
blank
starts.
slate.
I mean, the whole point of that opening is like Superman's lying there, there's like, Dick, how could you? And he's like,
Why?
I'm sorry, Clark. Like, it's coming from the Nightwing we know to
Yep.
become this.
So yeah, so I'm gonna give us a couple few because again, I like having Higgins back in DC, and I hope this is a bridge that he can come back and write other characters because I feel like he had a lot left in him.
Yeah, I'm down to read more of it. I do want to see where it goes because it was enjoyable enough to read. And part of me is kind of curious as to see how angry I may or may not be come the
You want to
reason.
know what is their best explanation? Like, is it how like even if it's never going to be good enough, it's like how much effort did they?
And here's the
put into
thing: if they somehow pull it off, if they somehow give me a reason that I go, you know what, that works, I will give them the credit that credit is deserved. And you know what? This is Higgins' original idea and his whole thing. He must have went and pitched this and said, I want to do this mini. Like, if he had some crazy cockamamie thing that his end game is so good that it justifies where this starts.
Right, you've got to imagine the editor at some point has gone, okay, so but what was the reason that's good enough for him to do this? You know, whoever's edited this, and you know, whatever department. I don't know if he's just gone through the regular Bat department.
Well, I'm sure when he pitched it, he had to pitch the whole story. It wouldn't just be the first issue.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, but when they were talking about it, like, I don't know if the editor is just the Bat department editor or if it's
it probably
a
is.
separate one. And you know, like, and so that person has to go, right, what's the reason that's good enough? And you've got to convince them. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so there must be something there, surely.
Yeah, but I'd point to some other companies right now that also okayed things. So, yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, but the difference is that was a 10-issue event that had like tons of tie-ins and other bollocks. And
no, I know.
This is a six-issue Elseworlds mini.
Yeah, and that, again, that's difference in how it's being handled. And
oh dear. All right.
the art though, I thought the art
I
was
really like the art.
pretty good. Yeah.
Especially, you know, like early on, I think it's the title page, you know, where you first see like Gotham as that big double spread, and you know, it's got like the deep red skies, and it's just like, oh, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, and then there's the double page spread of like Dick running through the rooftops and all that, and it's
This is something that I saw a lot in Higgins' run on Nightwing, the way he showed Dick's movement. I know obviously he wasn't on art then, but like it's kind of I assume he's told the artist to kind of carry that across, and I do enjoy how he does it. You really get the sense of motion of how Dick moves.
Yeah, I will give them credit. Alfred calling him on his shit and saying that he doesn't agree with it does at least help a little bit. Like someone's actually standing there.
That's why I was saying there with the Sun as well. Even the Sun's like, this doesn't seem right that he does this, and I think it's what gives it credence. Like that, like he's got the support of the public in some sense, obviously because it's gone through, but there are people who are on our side as well, going, no, this isn't right.
So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how we feel come the end of the story, which is the only way you can really judge it completely. But it's a hard sell right now.
It is.
It's a hard sell. So Yeah. That'll take us on to Batman the Shadow number 5. Steve Orlando and Scott Snyder writing, Riley Rossmo on art. This is the penultimate issue. Issue 6 is next month, which is the last one. Sorry?
I mean, it's kind of the last one. There's the follow-up mini straight after, isn't there?
Oh, sure, it's the last of this series, though.
Right, but it's kind of, it's not. It's kind of one of those where it's, you know, the sequence of minis that are all really one big story.
You're assuming it was planned that way.
That's true.
We have no idea, but so this is the 5th issue, and it's basically Batman's dying from his wound from the stag, and basically the Shadow and him, while Batman's dying, are travelling to Shambhala to try and stop what's his face, the stag and Joker from doing whatever they're doing, and there's a lot of speculation from Batman that the stag is actually more than one person because he appears in multiple places at the same time, all these things, and so on.
Yeah.
What do you think, Matt?
I liked it. It was probably the most Shadow of the issues thus far because it really focused on his like methodology. I can't talk like Pete today. Methodology. Nailed it.
There you go.
Yeah, is that like he's telling Bruce, like he's telling him the fact that you let these people survive means like you're gonna keep running into these problems, versus the way I do it. But then he finds out like, oh no, the stag's not just one person; it's like a cult of people, and every time you take them out, you're just making them stronger. So there was this battle back and forth of their philosophies, and Bruce kind of getting the one up on him. And I like the fact that Bruce goes out there knowing like he shouldn't, but he's gonna finish this story and help Shadow out, you know, because he's the better of them. So it was really good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It was. I don't think it was as impressive as the last couple. Like I was really like into the last 2 issues, whereas this one I thought was just more straightforward. It was kind of like we're going to the location where the final fight's going to take place. We have the big cliffhanger at the end where they actually get to Shambhala, and the stags, you know, plural, are seemingly wanting to burn it down, and Joker's obviously all for it. I would say that's maybe the other small complaint I'd have at this point is that Joker kind of feels just tacked on to the stag right now. Nothing.
He's just there.
Yeah, nothing in this issue felt like he needed to be there for any great reason. But I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I almost feel like the stag's trying to get him there, you know, like to be one of them. But we all know the Joker doesn't play well with others, so.
No, of course not. So I just wonder if in the last issue we're going to see like, you know, what the end game is with Joker, if he does have a plan. Maybe it is just to try and indoctrinate him and make him one of the stags, but we'll see. There's a fun dialogue between Batman and Shadow where Shadow's like basically complaining that, you know, because Batman doesn't just kill the villains, that he's soft on them and that's why he's ending up dying. And Batman debates him like, no, like you shouldn't want me to be the same as you. If you train me, you should want me to surpass you. You know, like that's how he looks at Dick, because Dick surpassed him when he left to become Nightwing. He's not just the same as he was. So
right,
you know, so some fun stuff in that way. Overall, I thought this was just a sort of fine, like, because they basically they travel. You know, Batman's kind of like half dying, but he's like, no, I'll put the suit on, I'm not dead yet. Obviously there's going to be some magic mumbo jumbo that saves him in the last issue. Because to be fair,
we're in a mystical city.
The reason why he's dying is because the blade was magical, and it's like a magical infection that, you know, can't be cured with medicine or anything like that. Because Alfred tries his best, but he can't. But yeah, it's basically the journey, and then there's a big fight with them, and then they get through the sort of the portal door, and like, oh, Shambhala's here and it's burning.
Yeah,
little too iron fisted, just a touch.
That's what I was just gonna say.
The ending there. Not to spoil the Iron Fist TV show, but let's just say there's a similar kind of moment.
Well, can you though, or you can just save people time?
True. Can't spoil. Well, shit. To put it bluntly.
You can try, but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have a lot of in-depth. Obviously, the art's the same as it's been, which is pretty good for the most part. Other than the stupidly short bat ears, which I'll keep bringing up because, god damn it.
Every issue,
every damn issue. I'll keep doing it. Don't you worry.
Too funny.
But yeah, I'm enjoying this a lot. I don't know if I want to read the follow-up right away. I feel like This Is a Mini was perfect, and then I don't know if I want another 6-issue mini straight after.
It's interesting that you've kind of got that many now, because I remember when it was announced, you were talking about it, you were kind of into it, to having more.
Do you know, I still am into having more. I just don't know if I want to go straight into it. Like, it seems like something that's best served as a, every once in a while, yeah, give me some of this, and that's cool. But like, honestly, I think it's maybe more that I've just seen the amount of other books that are adding to our slate over the next like couple of months with all the events and tie-ins, and I'll be reading issues of books that I'm not normally reading because they're parts of crossovers, and it's like
it's an easy excuse to stop, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, because it'll have an ending, because issue 6 is the final issue of this series, and then I'll check in the second series later, but we'll see. How are you feeling, Matt?
Yeah, no, I'm about in the same place. I mean, I'll probably check out the first issue just to see, but it's not a priority. I mean, this really wasn't a priority either. It turned out to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I still think it is a lot of fun.
And week 4 is a bit lighter, so it was like, we'll do that, because it's it's something else to read on week 4. But with a bit of luck, that'll stop being the case soon. But there you go. That's all of this week's books. We come to a crashing conclusion of this week's show. Of course, with the one thing left to do, which is to do our favourites of the week, which picking best art, panel, cover, top 5 books, all that malarkey. That is what's coming up. So, as we usually do, we'll start with panel, and I'm going to pick in Matt first for his panel.
So mine comes from Detective Comics, and it's from the flashback of Stephanie and
Tim.
There we go.
You sure this is your favorite panel?
Yeah, because it's them on the rooftop, and they're kind of cuddled together.
Oh, the very last panel of it.
Yeah, and the sun's either setting or coming up, and you got all the oranges, and they're just like content, because we know it's only going to get heartache from there.
Yeah.
So it was like their last pure moment. It was really affecting.
Cool, Connor.
Mine's from the same section. It's actually just the first page of that, so there's 3 panels, but they're overlaying like a full page. And it's kind of just that full page in the background, where they're just sat there eating burgers on the roof.
Yeah.
I'm just down for that.
Cool. Oddly enough, I'm also going with a flashback, but not from that book. I'm going from a panel from Batgirl. And I'm going with basically when Dick first shows up, when she's watching the cheerleaders, and she's got she's eating an apple. And it's just kind of like she has this expression on her face where she's like, "Oh, I've been caught up here in my batsuit," kind of thing.
Lots of eating food on rooftops.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's very Spider-Man.
Well, that's what you do as a member of the Bat family, because it's the only time you have.
Well, not to bring up Marvel, but it is very Spider-Man. Just like that image of Spider-Man with his mask rolled up and he's eating like a sandwich or something on a roof. It's very much that, and it feels it's the sort of thing that you would never see Batman do. Like Batman wouldn't be caught dead eating in costume.
I do love that in the moment you've picked. Babs is like, she's so like, oh shit, I've been caught. She just chucks the apple away over her shoulder.
It's good. It's a good little beat, and it's what I like so much about those flashbacks is it's their kind of more like laid back approach to it compared to like someone like Batman, where they will eat, they'll flirt, they'll do. I mean, not that Batman doesn't flirt. He did. I mean, actually, is it really flirting with Catwoman? It's more like a weird, I don't know, just raw sexual tension. It's not flirting. It's Matt's mic.
Bat flirting.
Bat flirting. Sure, we'll call it that. Bat flirting.
But
that's my panel. That's my panel of the week. It was tempted to go with the one with the Cheshire cat behind her.
With the eyes.
That was really fun. But no, I went for the adorable, goofy apple eating moment instead. So yeah, then we'll go with cover of the week. So Connor, you can do that first.
I'm going with Nightwing: The New Order. I think it's a really strong cover, just as an image. It's quite inventive compared to I think it's got a strong theme to it.
Propaganda.
Right, exactly. It is a propaganda poster, but with Nightwing. But I kind of appreciate that as a cover.
Fair enough. We often say off when we're picking for variants, like because the variant to Batman Shadow is absolutely gorgeous. If you've not seen it, it's beautiful stuff.
Who was it?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it's great. It's great. But out of the ones that we do have, in terms of the main books, the main covers, that is, I'd probably go with Batgirl as well, actually. I feel like there's a lot of them this week that are kind of like mid-action scenes, so they're kind of just like haphazard, whereas Batgirls, you got Batgirl and Nightwing, and then below that you've got like the flashback versions of them. So
Yeah.
that's quite nice.
Yep, that's mine too. Is Batgirl
Oh, cool.
for the same exact reasons. Just the composition of that. It looks like a movie poster.
I have to say that would be my second choice.
Yeah. I don't know, can you hear that dog outside? It's annoying me.
For once, it's not me, people.
Yeah, there's a dog outside.
Makes a change, doesn't it?
Strip it on. Put the bloody thing to sleep, right? Look at Matt's face. It was a joke, Matt. It was just a dark
I
joke.
hope so. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't know about you.
It's fine. I'm just cracking a joke. It's fine.
I hope whoever owns that dog heard you shout that then.
What was that took us to? Best art of the week.
Yeah.
I guess I'm first with that, aren't I? Do you know? Not to diss on this week's artist, but there's not as clear a standout as there is some weeks.
No.
I feel like,
there's three that I really like, but there's none that like stand above and beyond.
Whereas last week I feel like there was like 4 fantastic options that it was really tough. Whereas this week it's more there's a lot of decent options and that makes it tough. So in that case, I'll probably go with Batman Shadow. Go with Riley Rossmo. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I was tempted to go with Batgirl, but I think I'll go with Riley Rossmo and Batman Shadow. Matt.
So mine's gonna be Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps. I liked a lot of that art throughout. Yeah, fun layouts, cool character designs.
Cool. Can't comment, didn't read it, but Connor.
Yeah, I'm torn between Batgirl, Hal Jordan, and Nightwing New Order. I think they're all pretty solid, but none are above and beyond, like I was saying.
Yeah, there's no, clear like fantastic standouts this week.
All right. Yeah, I'll go with Hal Jordan. I think the layouts push it over the edge compared to the other two.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I guess that takes us on to top 5 books of the week. So, Matt, what is your top 5?
So number 1, Batgirl. Number 2, Tech. And this is where it gets a little more difficult. I guess number 3 would be Batman Shadow. 4, Flash. And 5, Nightwing New Order. Yeah.
Cool, Connor.
Batgirl, Tech. I'll go Nightwing New Order, Flash, Hellblazer.
Cool. We've got a string of unanimous books recently because I'm also putting Batgirl at number 1. So
I feel like we went for a long time without any, and then
and there's been a cluster of them all pretty close together. But
Yep.
So Batgirl at number 1, Detective at number 2. So yeah, it's number 2 as well. Rare that happens as well. 1 and 2 are all the same. Then it does get a little bit wackier. I'll probably go with the Flash at number 3. And, then Nightwing New Order at number 4, I think, and then Teen Titans at number 5. There you go. That's weird this week because I think we all read some different books, after the first few, so it was a kind of a weird mix of different things.
I'd say that there's 1 and 2. We were all pretty we're in agreement that we all read those and they were the best. And
I definitely
then we kind
think
of fracture
though
off after that.
that's our bias towards Barbara and Stephanie. So there's a
Possibly.
Batgirl bias here. So
Possibly.
and I'll own to it.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So I guess that wraps up the show this week. Actually, before I do my outro stuff, I should tell you what's coming next week. I usually do that. It's going to be a short list, admittedly.
Much.
Yeah. So coming next week. Let me clear my throat. Big long. Let me prepare myself for this. Wonder Woman number 29, Supergirl Annual number 1, and All Star Batman number I don't have it written down.
13.
13. There you go.
With a glorious neon cover.
So 3 books. Me and Connor are both reading Wonder Woman.
There are some of the Kirby specials as well, like the Dark Side one.
There is, yeah. We may end up reading some of those to sort of fill things out, and given that we've got the opportunity. Of course, we're doing Green Arrow Year 1 as the trade that was waiting for the patrons, so, you know. So we've got stuff to talk about. It is worth mentioning, Matt will be missing out on next week's episode. Family commitments have taken him away from us, which is a shame. But, I mean, on the one hand, it's like, okay, you're not missing a lot because it's a 5th week and there's hardly anything out. But on the other hand, it's like, yeah, but there's hardly anything out. We kind of need more banter. But
and also, I know this is just other companies' books, but Black Magic's out again next week, and I'm so excited.
Okay.
It's just one for that. I've just seen it out next week because I thought it wasn't out till September, and I've just seen it, and now I'm happy.
Yeah, please.
We should reprimand
I'm easily
him, though,
pleased
for bringing up a non-DC book in the list for next week. I feel like that's shady.
You should have seen,
All right.
me 2 weeks ago. I had 2 Jason Aaron books come out on the same day, so I was doing backflips.
Technically, there is a Red Hood annual next week as well. If you want to do that, Pete. If you want more stuff to read,
no. I would rather sit here and talk about something random than read the Red Hood annual. Thank you very much. So it's going to be a weird.
Read it, Pete. Tell him to read Red Hood annual.
No, I'm okay, thanks. So it's going to be a weird episode next week, but I'm sure we'll have some fun and we'll make good of it. Given that we will have a bit more time than usual and we won't be running like 2+ hours just on books alone, if you do want to send us in some questions on Twitter or anything like that, and it's assuming they're decent and not stupid, and somewhat relevant. I mean, they don't have to be strictly DC necessarily, but, you know, comic book or, you know, comic book movie related, send them in on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast is what it is, and maybe we'll answer a few of those if we get some good ones in. So you can do that, like, subscribe, all that stuff helps us out if you do that. Get us on Twitter, like we said, at DC Comics Podcast. If you want to support us, you can go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. Obviously there's some bonuses for all the other stuff we do on the YouTube channel, but obviously there's some core DC podcast stuff. There's a monthly bonus episode. In fact, I'll just announce right now, me and Connor have decided on what the next monthly episode that's exclusive to Patreon, the $5 tier. Me and Connor are going to be reading and discussing Justice by Jim Krueger and Alex Ross. So that's what's coming up in the next monthly episode. So you can look forward to that. Yeah. There's also something really obvious we're doing for October. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but
you can probably guess.
You can probably guess what it may be. Because it's October. That's all I'm saying. I'll let that lie. So you can look forward to that, and obviously you get to vote on the trade or graphic novel that we do in the 5th weeks, which obviously we're doing next week. So that is us. Obviously the next one of those will be in November, because that's the next time we have a 5th week. But other than that, you can get us individually on Twitter. I'm at Wibble89. Matt, where are you on Twitter?
At Man of Steel 57.
And for some reason you want to talk to Connor on Twitter. Connor, where are you?
I talk about all sorts of interesting things on Twitter. You can find me discussing and breaking down the new Taylor Swift song at ConnorRyan94.
Well, okay, with that said, I guess that wraps up this week's show. So, Twitter's, Patreons, likes and subscribes and all that bollocks. Yeah, I've said everything. It's been a haphazard, like, I've been speaking wrong. Like, English has not been my strong suit this week. This is just a summation of the shambles that it's been so far. It's a summary of the chaos, the lack of order, future fascist Nightwing would want. Like, it's just been all over the place. So with that said, guys, thank you very much for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading comics and all that jazz, and always remember, never get lost in the Speed Force. I'm not drunk, I swear.